Hello, my Teaserking family. Merry Christmas to everybody. Hope everything's going well for you. We got some football today. We got about 5 or 6 college. We got the 2 pros. And I showed you a bunch of EGON video, parts of his video. We can go through that again after football. Hey, Alex, how are you today? Hope everything's well. So I hit South Florida, but I didn't hit the over in the Georgia Tech game. So let's talk about today's games. Let's go through the line. So we start off with Troy and Duke at noon on ABC. Troy, where are you? Troy laying 7.5, 744.5 against Duke. A lot of the Duke players aren't playing. We know Riley Leonard's out, the backup quarterback. Looks like he's going to play. You just don't know if they play and how long they play. I think Troy's starting quarterback's playing, Gunnar Watson. So I just got a feeling that Troy's going to play. Duke, a lot of their defense is not playing, apparently. Maybe they play a little bit. I don't know what these coaches are doing. I don't understand why the Bulls are like, forget about that, but we'll play in the Senior Bowl. Duke quarterback Lev's playing. He started but not Riley Leonard. And he's not that good, but Tulane's quarterback is. So I don't know. I mean, I don't like all the Duke defensive players not playing. Not all of them, but a lot of them. So let's go through the line, then we'll go through that. So Duke 7.5, 44.5. Also at noon is Arkansas State 2.5, 53.5. So Troy's an A team with the 17 defense, and Duke's a B team with the 20 defense, provided they all play. Then we come here to Ark State, Northern Illinois. So Ark State 2.5. Ark State's an over team. They give up 31, and then Northern Illinois is an even team that gives up 21. I kind of like this game over, what is it, 53.5, 2.5, 53.5, just because I know Arkansas State scores a lot. And Northern Illinois, I mean, they got a 31 defense, so there's, and then Northern Illinois with a 21 defense. And as far as I know, Lombardi's their quarterback from Michigan State playing. So you got the starters there. There's nobody good enough to sit out. Let me get my coffee just a second. ACC versus Sunbelt. I like the points. Yeah. Normally I agree with you. Just a second. Sorry, just got my coffee. Normally I agree with that. This is the best team in the Sun Belt, and Duke has a lot of guys sitting out, which we will go through. So let's go through that. So Arkansas State, Northern Illinois, I think is an over game. They're an over team, over under 53. It should be, but I'm not getting my overs that I should be getting. Like last night, UCF and Georgia Tech should have went into the 70s, and It was 30-17 or something like that. All right, let's go into our other all-knowing site. So if I go into our Action Network site, I went back too far. So Troy has coaching changes. Head coach John Summerall has agreed to take the open coach at Tulane. Tulane's the one that's not playing. Defensive coordinator Greg Gasparato will serve as interim head coach for the Bowl. The Notre Dame offensive coordinator, who sucks, he had Hartman and he couldn't do anything, is going to be the head coach at Troy. I'm not going to be playing Troy, and I'll be betting against them. They won't do shit next year. Transfers, a linebacker is it. And then two minor guys who barely played. So Troy's basically got their full team and playing. They don't have the coach, but the defensive coordinator will be the coach. So it's not like somebody totally new. Duke, the head coach is now the coach at A&M. So you've lost your head coach. The associate head coach, Trooper Taylor, will serve as the interim coach. Transfer portals, Riley Leonard is gone. Loftus, who played the 7 games, should be the starter. Then you lost starting running back, starting cornerback, starting edge, starting D lineman, starting linebacker, starting DB, kick returner, and wide receiver. Running back came back out of the portal and should be the number 1. So you've lost this killer defense. You've lost a cornerback, an edge, a DL, a linebacker, and a DB. You lost 5 guys who played 300, 400, 500 snaps are gone. Now we got injuries. The center's out. He didn't play the final few games, and the safety's out. Got hurt late in the season. Opt-outs, wide receiver and left tackle, both with 600, 700 snacks. Duke starting DL Dwayne Carter also earned a Senior Bowl invite and could sit out. So you have a lot of, hey Todd, you have a lot of people not playing for Duke. Troy, you have everybody. I like their coach, Duke, and he's at A&M. A&M, Jumbo Fisher, what was that about? I don't know how he won at Florida State, but he was way over his head at A&M. You got to play Alabama and LSU every year. You think that's going to be a cakewalk? That's why I didn't understand the Iowa coach going to Arkansas. Whoa, what are you thinking? It's easier to beat Michigan and Ohio State than Alabama and Georgia. Hey, Todd, foggy in Illinois. I didn't play Georgia Tech over, but the others I did bet on, which I like. Okay, good. I'm glad you didn't because they lost. I lost on them. I saw 17 all at halftime, 34. We need like 60. I go, oh, okay. And UCF decided not to score anymore. But these overs have been killing me. So this is the problem with Duke I have, Alex. What do you do with, and this is the problem with most of these bowl games. I noticed LSU went back up to 10 because the Wisconsin running back's not playing. And I'm like, I'd rather have Jaden Daniels from LSU than the Wisconsin running back. So, again, it's hard, even the unders and overs. Free pick today, San Jose State, because Coastal Carolina is playing the third-string quarterback, and San Jose State's playing their starter, who's like a 25-5 guy, 25 touchdowns, like 5 picks. So San Jose State's your free play. That's the night game. That's the 10 o'clock game. So let's go back to where we were. So Troy went down to 6.5. Okay, it was 7.5 down to 6.5. So Arkansas State 2.5, 53.5. Again, I like the game over. Our State's a high-scoring team with no defense. They're a perfect over team, 31 defense. Northern Illinois has been scoring lately a little bit. So, again, it's a MAC team against a Sun Belt team. So what do you do with it? I don't know. I mean, they're not scoring a lot yet, so be careful with it. But it is a low over-under at 53. James Madison and the Air Force. I saw this as Air Force 1.5. Now I'm seeing James Madison 1.5. So I guess it's either or. Over under 40.5. We got James Madison, an A team with an 18 defense, and Air Force an A team with an 18 defense. And the question is Air Force quarterback playing? When I go into our injury list, I got to change it to college. All right. So Air Force, Zari is probable. Larry Air. So Air Force is going to play their quarterback. And then from what I saw, James Madison's also going to play. The team is like, we want to win the bowl game because we've never been in one because we've been Division II. And all of a sudden, their players, now they're not injured, so I can't go to this one. But if I go to my other site, if I go to CFP starting lineups, I got McLeod starting. So McLeod is the good quarterback, like 28 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. You got to be leery of these smaller team quarterbacks who are really good, like McLeod, like the Troy guy, Gunnar Watson is like 25-5. I mean, these guys light it up. So McLeod was transferring, but he's playing and against Larry Yarr. So you've got both starting quarterbacks playing. This is probably the best game we've had so far. I thought the UCLA game was going to be better, but it didn't turn out. But here we've got, so James Madison 1.5, 218 defenses. Air Force normally an under team because they're going to run the ball forever. He'll throw 3 passes, but he's a good runner. I like the dog here. If you're going to give me Larry Air, I like Air Force getting 7.5. And I also like the game under because you've got under teams playing. James Madison, a very strong defense. So this game is either or. So you either take the dog in Air Force with Larry Yarr, or okay, I'm afraid of James Madison, so I'm going to play the game under. James Madison, very good team. They're a lot like Troy. Troy's a very good team. So I know they're Sun Belt, but they're a very good Sun Belt team. It's like MAC can have a good team and the Big Ten can have a good team. All right. So let's flip back. Let's do all the lines. Those are the noon games. I wanted to get them in. It's 10:45. All right, now we go to Utah State, 1.5, 58.5. Their starting quarterback is doubtful, probably out. Georgia State is a Z team. Basically, their stats, if you really dig into their stats, they're not. The last 5 games against good teams, they didn't score anything. So they scored a lot against the weak teams. It's sort of like the Lions and pros, where they play the bad teams and they dominate, and then they play the good teams and they give up a lot of points. And you mix it all together. Oh, they're a good team. And then you see, no. And I see a lot of Miami's like that. Miami plays the good team. They give up 35, 40 points. They play the bad teams and they do well on them. So, again, there's a lot of either really good or real bad teams in the pros, and like here in college. I think they're Conference USA, Georgia State. I don't think they're Sun Belt, but Utah State is a Mountain West team. So again, you got a lot of shit teams. I don't know what to do with this one. I liked Utah State with the starting quarterback, but if he's out and he's doubtful, now you got to fuck around with the second or third string quarterback that we don't know. So it's a lot of, if you do statistics, you know you want to get a lot of trials, right? You want to see data points, right? And that's what football is. We see now we've got, in the pros we're in week 16, so we've got basically 15 data points on these teams. That's why I can kill it. But in the beginning, I got no data points because I can't use last year's because now I got all these new coaches and new quarterbacks. So I can use Kansas City's data point, but I can't use Carolina's data point because we don't have anything on Steve Young. And that's what as I grow. So when you get these backup quarterbacks in the bowls, I have no data points on them. I don't know what they are. They could be Joe Montana or, like I say, Joe Blow. And so that's why it's a little bit tough. You try to bet the team as much as you can. But Utah State, I think, would win the game. I can't go over with it because neither team has an offense. I don't know what Utah State's going to do. Although Utah State can run the ball, but is that their quarterback running it? Alex, both these teams' defense is bad. Utah State, yeah, I know that. I got Utah State's a 34 and Georgia State's a 30. And the problem is Georgia State has no offense, and Utah State I was going to bet on, but the quarterback's out. If the quarterback played, it's an easy take the 4.5 and off you go. So the problem is we don't have the quarterback to take advantage of the weak defense. That's the problem. Otherwise, this is an easy over. But I can't count on Georgia State to score a lot. So I know what you're saying. Normally, they will score on the bad defenses. But when your offenses suck, it's really hard to take advantage of it. Utah State quarterback likes to run. He started versus New Mexico in the last game, looked decent. Similar defenses here versus Georgia State, same as New Mexico. I bet the quarterback rushing prop for the Utah State quarterback. Well, yeah, if they're going to be that option type of team, then it makes sense. Georgia State won't be able to do anything. And I don't know what – all I know is the Georgia State quarterback sucks. So maybe Utah State in 4.5 would get you there. I thought about it, but I don't want to bet the third-string quarterback. So it does make it difficult, but thanks, Alex. Next game, South Alabama, Eastern Michigan. South Alabama, 17.5, 44.5. This is Conference USA versus MAC. And this is the problem with the bowl games. You get this shit. What is Eastern Michigan doing in a bowl game? Well, they're 6-6. Big fucking deal. They're not a good team. Let's break them down. They're an under team with a 24 defense. South Alabama's a B team with a 22, but you're laying 17.5, and your quarterback Bradley is questionable. We'll see if he plays. The line 17.5. We think he is. Let's go into our injury. So here's the transfer pool for James Madison. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 guys with a lot of snaps. See, it tells you how many snaps, so you can see their starters are in the transfer pool. And then it says, reports say all the James Madison players in the portal will play except for Kamara, who is a defensive lineman, who is the only one not on the depth chart. So this is confusing to me. You're in the transfer portal, but you're going to play. So now we've got a third slice of the pie going. Are they transferring, or are they getting ready for the draft? Are they injured? Oh, by the way, they're in the transfer pool, but they're going to play. Most of the guys in the transfer portal don't play. So then we got injuries. So here's James Madison. So they got 2 linebackers, 3 linebackers, 2 DLs, and a cornerback. The quarterback, a running back, and an LT, a tackle, all in the transfer portal, all going to play. Then you got an injury to their pro prospect defensive end. He won't play in the bowl, Jalen Green, and the starting left tackle was lost for the season. So what do you make of that mess? All these guys transferring, they want to win. The coach is gone. The coach has moved on to Indiana. I'm not sure that's a good move for the coach. I mean, he's got a good gig at James Madison, and he goes to Indiana where you're going to get pounded every year by Iowa, Wisconsin, Ohio State, Michigan State, Penn State. By the way, you've got USC, UCLA, Oregon, and Washington joining the party. Air Force, 1 running back's in the transfer portal. Injuries. Head coach Troy Calhoun said starting quarterback and fullback would return for the bowl game. So they're returning for the bowl game. They're playing. Zach Larriere is a very good quarterback. Keep an eye on the status of the wide receivers. Well, okay, what do you want us to keep an eye on? And that. All right, let's go down to South Alabama. The quarterback situation remains up in the air with starter Carter Bradley, 700 snaps, a real good quarterback, dealing with a knee injury. He has been splitting both reps with the freshman Lopez, who has been playing, and some senior who hasn't. Recent reports state Bradley will share quarterback duties in the bowl. So you've got their starter a little bit. We've got Eastern. The starter is out. He's transferring. So here he's transferring, not playing. Ike Ndugwa, 51 snaps, and McCoy with 3 snaps are listed as co-starters on the depth chart. So this is why Eastern. So if we take this, really, we've got no points from Eastern because you got a 22 defense on South Alabama. You got a 3rd string and a 4th string quarterback for Eastern who doesn't score even with their starting quarterback. An under team with a pretty good defense, 24. Their starting edge, this is transfer portal. Starting edge is going to Cincinnati. Their starting DL, so he's in the transfer portal. Does that mean he's playing or not? I guess he's not playing unless they put a little note saying the starters or the transfers are playing. Starting guard, Conti is committed to Southern Miss. The tight end's going to Arkansas, and a wide receiver isn't going anywhere yet. So this is very confusing. I don't think Eastern scores. If I put a score in, I think, well, Bradley, the question is how many points is South Alabama going to put up with their quarterback? I think it's an under 45. You got a 3rd string quarterback at Eastern, and the starters suck. This is one of the MAC teams who doesn't score. So I think this is an under. And this is an under. I think you can go under in the Air Force game. And then we get this fucking game. Utah and Northwestern. Oh, my God. Utah, which you think would kill them. And then you read Nate Johnson, transfer, quarterback, Bryson Barnes. He will play in the bowl, but he won't start. Wide receiver Cope didn't play a lot. Mikey Matthews, 345 snaps, transfer. Cornerback transfer. Another cornerback who didn't play much, and a linebacker didn't play much. Injuries. Utah lost 2 important defensive starters earlier this season. Linebacker and an edge. Stud. I don't know why they call it stud. Does that mean he's really good? DL Ellis suffered a season-ending injury in week 10. So you've got half of the Georgia defense is out, opt-outs, the wide receiver, and then 2 big safeties, 600 snaps apiece, are opting out of the fucking game. So what do I do with Utah and this great defense? And I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I got 6 of the defense out. How the fuck do I play this game? Northwestern, a guard who's transferring, who cares, and a defensive lineman who played 16 snaps. injuries. The safety missed the final 2 games, but should be fine. So the Northwestern guys are dying to play, right? I'm all over Utah, and then I read this, and then I love the game under, and then I read this. So I don't know. Utah is 6.5. Is this 41.5? Let's go back. Six and a half, 42.5. Some idiots actually betting this game over, really. And based on what? You have Utah with the, new quarterback I never heard of before, hasn't played. Northwestern, Bennett's terrible anyway. Northwestern's an under team with a 24. Utah under team because they didn't have our man, whatchamacallit, and a 20 defense. Cam Rising. So without Cam Rising there, they don't score. Great defense, missing 7 players. Northwestern, an under team with a 24. I think the only way I could play this game's under 42.5 to 48.5. Most teams, even Georgia, they rotate their defense. So if you have a really good defense and you're probably dealing with 18 to 20 guys playing it. You're rotating your defensive line. You're adding the nickel and dime DBs on passing situations. You got your linebackers, so you got to be 16, 17 deep, I would think, especially Utah. A great coach, great defensive coach, right? To give up 20 in this league, you got to be kidding. In the Pac-10, you're giving up 20. That's unbelievable. So I don't think this game gets too many points, I would say. I think it's an under 42.5. Again, when you lose, my problem is losing my defense, right? When I lose 6 guys off the defense, it makes it very difficult to play. Then it's like, like Duke, I'm ready to bet the game under, and then the defense sits out, and you're like, well, fuck, that was what I was going to bet on. So I think Northwestern just doesn't score, and I don't think Utah is going to get much. They got a decent defense, Northwestern. It is a Big Ten defense. All right, our last game, San Jose State, 9.5, 48.5. Love San Jose State. Cordero, excellent quarterback. Coastal Carolina, McCall is transferred. The backup's out. Third stringer playing. We got starter against third stringer. The easy post. This is from Hawaii, so we might have some wind to deal with, but that should be it. It's a big edge for San Jose State. They're flying from San Francisco, where Coastal Carolina's flying all the way from North Carolina. Coastal Carolina is an elite team with a 25 defense with McCall, which we don't have. And San Jose State's an over team, really with a 26 defense. But I don't think Coastal Carolina can really hurt San Jose State with the 26 defense. So that's what I'm looking at. Now let's go to our other little site. So your free play San Jose State with Alabama, and we're waiting on the Dallas-Miami if we're taking Dallas or the over in the game. All right, Hawaii Bowl, Coastal Carolina. Grayson McCall is committed to NC State. Jared Guest is also transferring to backup. Third string Vasco will start. Now, he has had 200 snaps. Not terrible. Then you've got starting wide receiver is transferring, running back transferring, linebacker, the other guys are 30 snaps. Who cares? There's a chance some still playing the ball per reports, although I doubt Brown, recently committed to South Carolina, will be among them. Brown is the wide receiver. So, again, let's have more confusion. These guys are transferring, but they might play, although I don't think McCall will. He's got concussion anyway. He wasn't going to play. Injuries, starting nickelback Juan Powell missed the final 2 games. doesn't mean anything. Just that he missed those doesn't mean he's missing this one. San Jose State, 4 guys transferring, 2 with 50 snaps. We don't care. Starting left tackle, 765 snaps, and starting tight end are both transferring. Now, will they play today? I don't know. If Cordero's playing, I would think these guys would be playing. Your left tackle and your tight end are pretty important for your starting quarterback. But we have our starting quarterback. So, got to love San Jose State, pretty big. Coastal Carolina with a 25 defense, San Jose State with a 26. I just think they score, and I don't know that Coastal Carolina can answer. Again, their coach moved on, so this isn't their normal. There's a new coach this year, and they did okay. Ran the ball a little bit more. Could be a good game. I don't know. We haven't had too many good games yet. So we got Troy and the under. We've got Arkansas State over. We got the Air Force under with James Madison. We have no idea in Georgia State, Utah State. South Alabama Eastern is an under, and Utah and Northwestern is an under. And then we like San Jose State. It's been a rough first beginning of the bowl season because of you have no idea. It's like preseason. It's like pro preseason. You've got third stringers out there. You've got coaches leaving. The Duke coach isn't going to coach. He's at A&M. What the fuck is that? But he's not coaching A&M. And he's going to empty A&M because he's going to want his Duke players, so they'll all transfer there. The Indiana guy is going to transfer. So this is the new thing that Primetime set up. So he goes to Colorado. The whole team goes with him. And now this guy from Duke goes to A&M. The whole team will go there. And then the other guy, James Madison, goes to Indiana, and the whole team will shift to Indiana. I mean, this is just way too weird for me. Oh, unfucking believable. So these are your games today. The next batch start on the 26th. We've got Bowling Green Mini, Texas State Rice, and my favorite, Kansas against UNLV. It's funny, people ask me if I have a favorite team, and it's like, well, today it's San Jose State. On the 26th, it's Kansas. It's Alabama later on, but if Washington wins, it might be Washington. I think Washington is going to give Texas all they want. Texas's starting running back is out, got hurt. Washington beat Oregon twice. Haven't lost in the Pac-10, beating a good Oregon State and Washington State teams. You can't tell me Texas is better than Washington, and Texas is a 4.5-point favorite. You can't say that because I don't buy it. You can beat Oregon twice. Oh, you beat them once, the coach fucked up. He went for it on 4th down instead of punting, which is basically a turnover, which basically gave it basically deflated Oregon and gave Washington an emotional lift like it was a fumble. Okay. The second time they beat them. Pretty fair and square, although I'm sure Oregon went for it on 4th down once or twice. Washington is a very live dog, and we know Alabama is a very live dog. These games, we don't have to worry about transfer and injuries and shit like that. This is except for the Texas running back being injured. Give Texas credit for being Alabama, but they beat a different Alabama team. Milrose was terrible in the beginning. If they played Texas now, I would take Alabama. I think Alabama, Milrose has grown. Their defense is very good. They hold Ole Miss to 10 points. They held LSU to 28, but they cheated when they gave the concussion to Daniels, which I was pissed at. Scoring 48 on LSU is nothing, but holding them to, LSU went down the field whenever they wanted on Alabama. So that's their weakness, but Michigan does not have that quarterback. Michigan's quarterback's terrible. He just sits in the pocket. They've got a strange passing attack that I've never seen before at Michigan. They seem to get people open downfield because you're worried about their run. They're not going to run on Alabama. Forget that. I mean, this is the easiest game on the board. Alabama is a dog. Why is Alabama the dog here? They beat Georgia. Michigan didn't beat any. See, Michigan beats nobodies, and then they go up to number 2, number 3 in the poll. Then they beat Penn State, who's okay, not great. And then they beat Ohio State by 6, who's not, they don't have that normal quarterback. So I don't understand Michigan being ranked so high. That makes no sense to me. They didn't beat anybody. They don't deserve it. And from what I watch, a team like Alabama is going to shut down their run game. I'm not sold on McCarthy, and I know Harbaugh's a choke. I remember those 49er games. He fumbled punts against the Giants twice. And then in the Super Bowl, he had a hard time. Never really won the big game. I don't see him winning this one. So Alabama's the free play. Getting 7.5 is absolutely a joke. That's like I had last year. I had TCU against Michigan in 13.5. I thought that was the easiest bet I ever made until this one. So again, Texas, Washington, tease the dog with Alabama. Or play the game over. It's a 64. I think it'll be high scoring because Washington, they can't stop Penix. Texas, good defense, but in the Oklahoma game, it was a 65. I think it was high scoring. What was the Oak State game? So let's look at the championship game. Yeah, it was 49-21 with Oak State. They held Ollie Gordon to 150 yards. So that was a 7. Yeah, these teams are going to score. Washington, Oregon was 34-31. So this is definitely a 60, 70-point game because in these playoff games like this, Texas and Washington will just go up and down the field, right? They're going to we don't have enough points. We got to score. Alabama will just take the life out of you. They're like a python. They'll just squeeze Michigan, and then they won't be able to breathe. But unfortunately, these are the only 2 games we can really focus like that, which really sucks. Oregon, Liberty, Bo Nix is playing, and the Liberty quarterback's a very good quarterback. I don't care what league he's in. He's like a 32-4 guy, this Salter. But is Oregon's defense actually going to play? That's the question. LSU, Wisconsin, we have no idea. We know Daniels is out, but we don't know why. Wisconsin's running backs out. A lot of players sitting out. What do you do with these stupid games? Georgia, Florida State, both teams with the 16 defense. Right now, Georgia's quarterback and Brock Bowers are playing, but that might change, so we got to wait on that one. Auburn, Maryland, we've got Tagliavua not playing, so makes Auburn look a whole lot better. Good game, Mississippi and Penn State. Good game, Missouri, Ohio State. Ohio State's gone favorite. I don't know why. Henderson maybe plays. Missouri, all their players are playing. They are playing to win, so I like Missouri there. All right, let's go to the pros. If you have any questions, callers, ask now or forever hold your peace. All right, we have a 4 o'clock game in Cincinnati against Pitt. So this is a 4:30 game on NBC and a 8 p.m. game on Peacock. Who the fuck? Okay, here's the problem with the NFL. You want to put it on Peacock. You think anybody has Peacock? You think anybody's buying Peacock to watch this game? So this is a game that won't be seen. Maybe it shouldn't be. It's San Diego sucks now. But why do you want to lose audience? I mean, the reason baseball thrived in the 50s and the 60s, it was on TV. people could watch the game, then they wanted to go to it. It created interest. By having these games on Peacock and NFL Network and Prime, it hurts the game because their thought is, well, people will buy to watch the game. And it's like, you got to be kidding me. It's like going to the dentist to watch these games. Oh, well, was it a fumble or not? Well, let's not blow the whistle. That's my worst, is the open hand fumble by the quarterback, or is it a pass? And the defensive guy gets it and runs it in for a touchdown. And then they review it because the refs are too stupid to actually make the call on the field. Call what you see. That's the call. That's it. If you blow the whistle, you blow. If you think that was an incomplete pass, call it an incomplete pass. If you think it's a fumble, call it a fumble. It's either A or B, folks. And you blow the whistle. I don't give a fuck if they recover it and go for a touchdown. That's not the part of the game, is the ref calling the play. And so it's so stupid, and I hate that. But what happens is, oh, let's go have 5 minutes of commercials while we review that the ref was too stupid to see the play, because the ref can't see if it was open hand or not. Therefore, well, why have refs on the field? All they do is call holding penalties now and offsides that are absolutely, they don't think about should they call them. You know, it depends on the game, on what's happening. You don't bail out this 4th and 24 and you call a holding penalty. What are you, fucking out of your mind? You don't bail the teams out. Hey, Todd, Indy is my lock at plus 7.5. NFL, yeah, it must be NFL. Yeah, I don't know why they're dogs. Actually, they're 2.5, so you could get 8.5 with them. So let's talk. Let's go through the lines. 4:30 game, Cincy 38.5, up from 2.5. We've got Browning against Rudolph, who hasn't played, who was really good at Oak State 20 years ago. We got Cincinnati, an under team with a 22 defense. We've got Pitt, an under team with a 20 defense. And the biggest problem today for Cincy is Jamar Chase not playing. So how do you have to reevaluate your calling. Now, Cincinnati's still an under team. They're not going to score that much without Chase. I mean, Chase is going to bail you out. Browns look good somehow. Pittsburgh's look like shit. I don't see Pittsburgh scoring anything here with Rudolph. Trubisky, where do they get these quarterbacks? Are you telling me that their main guy is Pickett, who sucks in the beginning anyway? So I see Pitt. Pitt needs to trade up to get Bo Nix or Penix or Hartman. I mean, they can't live with this shit. This is their problem. And how they don't see it, I don't understand. So I think you go under in the game, 44.5. There's no Chase. You got two backup quarterbacks. This is not Burrow that we're worried about. And Roethlisberger's not there anymore. Let's give it a score. Cincy 20 and Pitt 17. How about that? And I don't know that Pitt can score 17, but Cincy does have a decent defense once in a while. The game's at Pitt. They're a very strong home dog. But on that, I think it's low scoring. I don't know where you're getting points without Chase. And Pittsburgh with Rudolph, well, he's going to light it up. I mean, I don't see that. Then the other game, Buffalo 12.5, 44.5, up from 43.5 or 44. Buffalo, the A team with an 18 defense, pretty healthy. San Diego is, I don't even call them an E team anyway. I shouldn't call them an E team. I'm going to call them a W. And they might be a Z team. They got a 25 defense. They're not going to score with stick in this situation. Not against Buffalo's 18 defense, right? So if you're playing Washington a 30 defense, I could see San Diego State scoring well. Not against Buffalo's defense. Now, Buffalo is hungry, backs against the wall. They must win. They're trying to catch Miami, who they can catch very easily because they play them, and Miami's got Dallas. I got Buffalo 40-17. I think they're going to score, and you got no Bosa. All you got is Khalil Mack and James. You've got Keenan Allen out. You've got Herbert out. What is, stick? You got a new quarterback, a new coach who probably won't go for fourth down every time. It's funny how all the fourth down coaches are fired. San Diego at the 25 defense. So Buffalo is going to score early and often. They have to score. They have to win, right? So it's a must win. So we like that. And San Diego, they're not going to score with stick. Where do you find this idiot from? So I think it's an over, but when I analyze that, it's all Buffalo. So I said, fuck it. If it's all Buffalo, then just take Buffalo. Because if I'm not going to get points from San Diego and I'm going to worry about the over, I might as well just take Buffalo to win by 30. So Buffalo under 7, I thought was a good play. To Todd's. Indy is my lock. Todd's giving out locks, everybody. Todd, what's your website? We'll all go and buy your lock. Atlanta 2.5, 45.5. Up from 44.5. We've got Minshew against Heineken. Indy was favored. I don't know. Atlanta went favored because of Heineken. I don't know. Indy's an over team with the 25 defense. Atlanta is an under team with the 20 defense. Riddler sucks. And then you go to Heineken, who's not much better. There's a reason Washington let Heineken go for Sam Howell, right? How bad is that? I got 24-17 Indy. I think this is a dog play the whole way. And you want to give me Indy and 8.5? Let's check the injuries just to see what are we missing here. Well, let's go to this other full injury thing. We'll go to NFL starting lineups. So Cincinnati, Pitt, Chase is out. We know everybody. Well, it only shows the healthy ones and no win. Buffalo, San Diego is in a dome. Everybody's healthy for Buffalo, and we see Stick, and we don't see Keenan Allen. So San Diego, and it's in a dome, so Buffalo's going to be happy. Indy, Atlanta. We got Minshew, Taylor. Pittman is questionable as a wide receiver. Downs, Pierce, Ogletree, and Matt Gay. I have no idea if these are their regular receivers or not. It doesn't interest me. Indiana. Atlanta, Heineken, Brooks Robinson. Okay, he hasn't done anything. Drake London, Ken Hodge used to play hockey for the Bruins, and Von Jefferson from the Rams. Kyle Pitts, who doesn't do anything, was okay for Florida, and I didn't understand the high draft pick there. We've got in a dome. We've got Atlanta 2.5, 45. Yeah, that's exactly. So the spread is right. So I don't see any reason for Indy to be dogged except for Heineken, which I'm not over impressed with Heineken's touchdowns. We'll take a look. In my NFL, I now brought in the quarterback in my. So I can see the team and the quarterback and what he's doing. So when I go into my thing, so Indy, when I go into Indy, and I got Minshew, I don't have Heineken. All right. Oh, no, yeah. So Minshew's a 14-8 guy. As good as you think he is, 14-8. They throw for 237. They run for 115. They're at 25-25 points. So they score and they give up. Atlanta is 18 and gives up 20. Heineke is a 3-1 guy, 3 touchdowns and 1 pick. They only throw for 200 yards and run for 126. So what's the big deal? If I look, let me go down the quarterbacks as long as I'm in this page. So Tagliabue, 25-10. Prescott 28-7, Brock Purdy 29-7, Lamar 17-7, Josh Allen 26-14. Of course, this is touchdowns to interceptions, which is the only thing that you would care about. Jared Goff 26-10, Jalen Hurts 19-10. That's what hurts. He only throws 19. He runs too much. Minshew for Indy 14-8, Trevor Lawrence 18-10. Matthew Stafford 21-9, Mahomes 25-13. It's the 13 that's killing Kansas City this year. Stick is 3-1 for San Diego. CJ Stroud 20-5, but he's not playing. Flacco 7-5 with Cleveland. Russell Wilson 24-8. Now you know why I like Denver. Geno Smith 15-9 for Seattle. This is their problem. Too many interceptions with these receivers, Metcalf and Lockett. You got nine picks. Jesus. Derek Carr 16-7. Jake Browning 7-3 for Cincinnati. Not bad. Jordan Love 25-11 for Green Bay. Fields 14-8. Nick Mullins for Minnie 2-2. Baker 24-8. Sam Howell 19-15. You can see the problem with the quarterback. 15 picks. Are you kidding me? And Buffalo's problem is 26-14 for Josh Allen. You have 14 picks. It's insane. Kyler Murray 4-4. You now know Arizona's problem. Aiden O'Connell with Oakland 8-7. Will Levis 8-4. Trubisky 4-5 for Pittsburgh. There was no point in changing it for Rudolph because he'd be a 0-0. Bryce Young for Carolina 9-9. Zach Wilson for the Jets is 8-7. Danny DeVito 8-3, and Bailey Zappi 4-4. So now you can kind of see the method to my madness. Looking at, and when I see that, this is why I'm not high on Lamar, and this is why I'm not high on Lawrence. They throw too many interceptions. This explains Buffalo, 14 interceptions. This explains all the teams why they're not good. And this is why Denver's so hot. 25 and like 8. Way too many interceptions, way too much passing, not enough running. It's absolutely ridiculous. That's why these teams are struggling. They throw too much and throw way too many turnovers. Hey, Prophet. Well, thank you, Prophet. I wish you Merry Christmas, Happy New Year also. Thank you very much. I went out and bought myself gold for for Christmas. Well, for Bobby and Luke, I went to the coin store yesterday. They asked me when I went, so he had a lot of Cougarans. Although I didn't like the silver, he ran out of all the Buffalo silver. So he got this new silver in, and I looked at it, and I looked at the back, and I didn't like it. The guy goes, well, from you just buying silver to buy silver. I go, yeah, but I gotta like it. It's like a baseball card. You gotta like the card, like this Vanguard. I love this Vanguard. I love this series. Right, nice, pretty. It's got the logo. I go, this I like versus maybe Topps or Pro Set or Hoops or something. So anyway, I ended up buying 2 1/10 ounce of gold yesterday. So that was my Christmas present. You can never go wrong with gold. Who doesn't like gold? And they're stuck. There you go. And I said to Jenna, this is a pet peeve of mine. So I'm with Jenna in Germany, and she wants perfume. So we go buy perfume, $100 bottle, and I go to her, Merry Christmas. That's your Christmas gift. Don't ask for another Christmas gift. That's your Christmas gift. Then she goes and buys some stuff for her kids, her family, and I get to pay for it, of course, right? I'm the money. So I said, where's my gift? Well, I don't have money for it. I go, you don't have money for this, but somehow it's getting paid for. So I was joking with her yesterday. I said, this is what you got me for Christmas, these 2 10th-ounce of gold. Thank you for my Christmas gift. Because she doesn't get it, I'm going to pay for it anyway. But if she got me a polo shirt from her, I'd like it. It's a thought, right? All right. So let's continue on. So all these games are Sunday, and then we got Monday nights. It's unbelievable. They're stretching this Christmas games. All right, so Atlanta 2.5, 45.5. I agree with you, Todd. I don't get it. I think 8.5 in Indy. They score a lot. They give up a lot, but Atlanta doesn't really score that much. Are they going to be able to run? Heineken doesn't run like Riddler does. Brooks Robinson, very big disappointment. I'll tell you the guy that will not be a disappointment is Oklahoma State's guy, Ollie Gordon. I can't remember his last name. This guy's a stud. 1,600 yards, 20 touchdowns. Reminds me of Jim Brown. If he breaks through the line of scrimmage, he's very strong, but when he breaks through the line of scrimmage, he's gone. Nobody catches him. That's why he's got 20 touchdowns, and most of them have been break the tackle at the line of scrimmage because I'm strong, and then watch me go. So it's like Jim Brown all over again. And this guy should be the number one running back taken if he's in the draft, which I don't know. I don't think he is because he's not sitting out the bowl game yet. All right. Green Bay 437.5. We have to check Green Bay's injuries. Green Bay's got 3 key injuries, which shouldn't really matter against fucking Carolina. Carolina could not beat any team in the top 25 in college. Okay, Jordan Love is playing. Whippy. Aaron Jones supposedly playing. The problem is Christian Watson is doubtful and Jaden Reed is questionable, the 2 receivers. Young playing, who cares? Chuba Hubbard, Thielen, Mingo, DJ Chark. Okay, so we're waiting on Watson and Reed. He needs those, but he's got Aaron Jones, which will be a key addition. How long does Aaron Jones play is the problem because he doesn't normally play a lot. So Green Bay should easily beat Carolina. Carolina is like 14-1 against in a teaser this year. I mean, they're the biggest bet against team there is. So you want to bet Green Bay. I got Green Bay winning 27-17. I got Jones. I would like to get the other guy, but if I don't get him, I don't know. Green Bay has to win the game. This is do or die. They're a game behind many, and all these 7 and 8 win teams, Green Bay's got 6 wins. Mathematically can get to 9, which would get them in if everybody loses. The only team clinching is Philly Dallas with 10 wins. One of them's the division, one of them's the wild card. So I like Green Bay here, 27-17. Green Bay with the 22 defense. Carolina is the Z team and no offense. I think they score 13 a game and a 25 defense. How the fuck do you score 13 a game? You drafted the number 1 quarterback. You're the first pick, and you draft Steve Young, and he sucks because he's from Alabama. You drafted him. But Mac Jones from Alabama. He sucks. Jalen Hurts from Alabama. He sucks. And Tagliavua is from Alabama. He's good against weak teams. We'll put it just like in college. He was good against New Mexico State, but when he got in there against Georgia and Clemson, he didn't show up. And that's why I warn people about these Alabama guys because they make it on the Texas State and the New Mexico State games, not the SEC games. And Milrose. Give Milrose credit. He beat Georgia. That's why I'm so high on Alabama. They beat Georgia. Okay. I don't know what else you need to see, but that's all you need to see. Todd, happy holidays, everyone. Good luck with your bets. The best is yet to come. Next week's games, college. Going shopping now. Thank you, Professor, for all you do. Well, you're welcome, Todd. I'm glad you're here. Welcome always to the class. I know people don't quite realize it's a class. I'm trying to teach you how to do a lot of stuff because most people have no idea. It's not taught. I kind of pick it up and learn it. I mean, economics, I got a master's in. Football, I got a PhD in. But when I talk about Stoic or these other stuff, I'm just picking it up from YouTube or health and fasting. So I try to bring it in to make everybody's lives better. That's my goal. So enjoy, Todd. Happy holidays. Again, you got till 4:30, unless you bet the noon game. If you bet Troy Duke, then that's fine. But otherwise, the pros start at 4:30 with Baltimore. I'll go swimming before that and go. And then I'm deciding what to make for Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. I can make a roast. I don't really want to make a turkey. I can make a salmon. I can make steak. I can make ribs. I'm so caught in what to make. I cook so much during the week. It gets boring now. It's like, oh, I just had chicken. I'll make hamburgers. Oh, I just had hamburgers. I'll make fish. I mean, it's insane. All right. So have fun, Todd. Enjoy. Happy holidays. Cleveland, 2.5, 40.5 to Houston. Flacco against Stroud. Actually, I think Stroud's out. I think it's Case Keenum now. Let's go. Well, let's do the line and then we'll go to the other site. So Cleveland, 40.5. Cleveland is a under team with a 21 defense. So is Houston. Flacco is playing. Stroud, I think it's Flacco and Keenum. It's a 40.5. I think it goes under. I'm scared to tease the dog in Houston. I like Keenum, but Cleveland's got that strong defense with Myles Garrett. But I don't want Cleveland in 3. I want Cleveland as the dog here, but I'm not going to get that. I don't have a score yet because I'm waiting to get the quarterbacks, but I think it's a field goal game. I think you can take Houston as a dog. Seattle, Tennessee. Seattle 3.5, 41.5. Where are they? It's a must-win game for Seattle. Smith against Levis is questionable, but Geno Smith will play. The only guy questionable on Seattle is Walker, the running back. The receivers are all a go. I got a 25 defense in Seattle and a 22 defense in Tennessee, and I got Henry and Deontay and the receiver. I can't think of his name, but so I do have some offense, and I have Derrick Henry who's going to score for me. I got 24-20 Seattle. They're the E team, and Tennessee's the under team. They don't score, but they got a 22 defense. Seattle is in a must win. Tennessee, I think, is out. They've only got 5 wins. I think even if they go 8-9, you've got Jacksonville, Houston, and Indy at 8-6. And I'm sure they play each other because that's the way the NFL is set up. So somebody gets to 9, which knocks out Tennessee because they can only go 8-9. So Tennessee's pretty much out. But San Diego's back's against the wall. I'm sure Vrabel will have Tennessee going. This is a real hard game because I would prefer Tennessee favored, and then I take Seattle. I don't know that I like Tennessee as the dog in a must-win game for Seattle. If it's a must-win for Tennessee, yeah, but this is a case I don't know. Then I look at over/under. It's hard. I got 24-20. I think it goes over with Seattle in their offense, and Henry's going to score. But this is I can't get a feel type of game. Washington and the JETSs, Jets 36.5. We got Zach Wilson questionable against Thurston Howell. We got a Z team in Washington, give up 30 fucking points a game. The Jets don't score, give up 21. So they're the ultimate under. We don't score, but we have a great defense, although they're giving up a little. They're at home. I think the Jets win the game just because they're at home. If Wilson plays, if he doesn't play, I don't know who their backup is anymore. It ain't Boyle. He's gone. They're in a dilemma because if they get a good pick and they can get, Bo Nix or Penix, what do they do with it? Because you got Aaron Rodgers for another couple years, from what I hear. So you're really caught with, what do I do? I suppose he can be the backup and you get rid of Wilson, but he was a high draft pick. So I think their problems are offensive coordinator. But I don't know. This should be an under game because of the Jets. They won't take advantage of the weak Washington defense. They'll score a little, they'll kick a lot of field goals, and then Washington will probably get shut down by the Jet defense. So this should be, I got 2017 the Jets. But again, I'm not really interested in the game. Nobody needs it, and I'm not sure if I got Zach Wilson or not. So we will see. Detroit and Mini, Detroit 347. Must win for Mini if they want any chance of the playoffs or winning the division. They must win. They're at home. Detroit off the big win against Denver after losing to the Bears at Chicago. Detroit's an over team with about a 27-28 defense. Mini is an under team with a 19 defense most of the time. It fell apart last week against Browning and Cincinnati. I got Mini winning 27-24. They have to win the game, and Detroit doesn't, and that's the difference. When your back's against the wall, and that's why I say it, you have to win the game. And when you have to win it, you get that little extra adrenaline and a little extra, we got to win. And Detroit's going to be lax. Okay, we beat Denver, but if Mini wins their last three and Detroit loses, and Mini plays Detroit twice, so Mini beats them twice and Dallas beats Detroit. Now they're 10-7. Mini's 10-7. Mini would have beat them twice. Mini gets the division. But at this point, it's more critical for Mini to win than Detroit to win. So Detroit won't be backs against the wall, but Mini will. And I like Mini to win. I prefer the over 46. I think that's a very strong play, as Mullins is much better than whatchamacallit, Dobbs. What was Dobbs doing? Mullins, it's got a little bit of Niner in him, and golf is, big choke, as we know. So ask New England about him choking. Ask Utah about him choking in college. So he's a choke. So in the big games, he doesn't show up. Baltimore didn't show up. Didn't show up against the Packers. Didn't show up against the Bears. Didn't show up against Seattle. He doesn't show up unless it's Carolina or, Atlanta or somebody. So, he showed up against Denver last week. Okay, give him credit for that. Whippy. But I just think Mini needs the game far more than Detroit. But we'll give Detroit some credit. They finally beat a good team in Denver. And but I think this will be high scoring because Detroit doesn't have a defense. That's their Achilles when they get in the playoffs. They can't beat the Rams, they can't beat the Niners, they can't beat Philly, and they can't beat Dallas. So as long as they keep playing Tampa Bay and New Orleans and Atlanta in the playoffs, they'll do fine if they make the playoffs. Again, it's chokitis for Detroit. Tampa 1.5 42. This game we're waiting on Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence is questionable with the concussion and that, but this looks like he's playing because that went down to 1.5. We will see. If it is, it's an even game. Both teams need it for the playoffs. Jacksonville's an even team with a 22 defense. Tampa's an under team with a 21 defense. So Jacksonville's a better dog, provided Lawrence plays. 42, I like the game over or Jacksonville. Again, I'm waiting for Lawrence to put my score down, but I think it'll be a close game. And it should be points. Jacksonville, 42-36. If you got Lawrence and Mayfield, you get 36. If you don't, then it's an under. Miami, 1.5, 49.5 to Dallas. You got 15-mile-an-hour winds. I'm not worried about. You've got an A team in Dallas with the 19 defense and an A team in Miami. You got really an over team in Miami. Against good teams, they give up in the 30s. Dallas is going to score. I got Dallas winning 30-24. Prescott against Tag. This is Tag's problem against good teams. He doesn't show up, throws a lot of picks. And does he have Tyreek Hill, who's questionable with the ankle? He didn't play last week, so it's a real injury. I think Dallas, after the embarrassing loss last week, the roughing the punter, what was that? It wasn't even roughing. He barely touched him. It should not have been roughing. And then the quarterback hit to the quarterback, the bullshit there. I thought that was ridiculous. So liking Dallas to bounce back, Miami against a good team not showing up. Dallas must win to stay with Philadelphia to win their division. So this is Dallas with the better team here, the better defense. Look for Dallas as a live dog here. The Bears, 4.5, 43 against Arizona. Arizona's Z team. Murray doesn't look good. 27 defense. The Bears score. They give up 24, but they've been playing much better, especially at home. I got the Bears 31-17. I like the over. Also, well, that's a 48. Murray might get him a touchdown or two. Perfectly spaced. Well, it's not revenge for Dallas. It's just after a loss for Dallas, right? That's that. The revenge is if they would have lost to Miami. But this isn't a revenge game. They didn't lose to Miami. They just played bad and now have to play strong. So this is bouncing back after a loss, and Philly gave you a break in losing also. So now you're not going to get another break from Philly because Philly's going to kill the Giants. So you better win this game. And it's against Miami, who's not a strong defensive team. All the good teams, this is again, against the weak teams, Miami looks good. The Jets and some of the other New England. But when they play a good team, I don't know, Frisco or Baltimore or something, they give up 30 points. San Diego, they gave up 30 points to. So when they play the good teams, they don't have a defense. And this is why teams like Miami never win the Super Bowl. So if anybody's saying Miami to the Super Bowl, say with this defense, they don't have a chance. KC's got a better chance with their defense. Yeah, it's a bounce back profit. You want teams off of a loss. This is why I love Philadelphia. They're off of 3 losses, and they're playing a Z team and the Giants. This is going to be ugly early, but we'll get to that. Denver, New England. Denver's up to 7.5, 35.5. New England, the Z team. Denver got embarrassed last week at home. Everybody's healthy, and New England doesn't score. And Russell Wilson, I got Denver 27-6. Must-win game for them. They want to make the playoffs. They can still catch KC, but probably not. It's probably more, let's get the wild card. Denver at home should pound them. Miami's 0-3 against top 10. This isn't college. They don't rank in the top 10. I just call them good teams. But, yeah, and they give up 40 points. KC was the exception. They only gave up 21 to them. Oakland, Kansas City 10, 40.5. I got KC winning 20-3. Oakland's not going to score here. O'Connell against Mahomes. Mahomes will be like a surgeon. He'll get a touchdown here and a touchdown there, and he'll Kelsey. And they'll run the ball, and just put Oakland to sleep. They don't score a lot because they don't have receivers, so they're not the over team. They got the killer 18 defense, but I do like Oakland with Crosby with the 20 defense to keep the game pretty low scoring, not close. I don't think Oakland scores with O'Connell. Maybe Devontae Adams catches one, but otherwise KC needs the game. They're trying to catch Baltimore. Philly, 13.5, 43. I love this game. Giants are a Z team with the 24 defense. Danny DeVito, okay, he had his moment against Green Bay. Where was he against New Orleans? 2 field goals, and now you get Philadelphia a little bit pissed off of 3 losses in a row. We got lucky last week. We had them plus 3.5 against Seattle, so we got the win. And it was the best of both worlds. They lost the game. So now they've lost to Frisco, Dallas. Okay, you can understand those losses. In Seattle, I don't think I can understand that loss. And you got Matthew, you got Matt Patricia as your defensive coordinator. You've got to be kidding. Since when does a New England coach know how to coach? Even with that, I don't think DeVito can hurt him. And I think Philly, as long as Hurts is okay, his knee was bothering him a little. Too much of that, of the Madoff play, is hurting Philadelphia because he gets hurt in that play. Now they're just jumping on top of him. Seattle's linebacker just jumped over the pile onto him and went with for the ride. That can't be good for your quarterback, okay? So I don't know what the coach is thinking. He's out of his fucking mind. But I did see him run the ball out of that formation. But it was obvious because he had the running back there, and he normally has like a guard and a tight end, and this time he had a running back. So it's pretty obvious they were going to hand it to him, and they did. I got Philly 45-7. They're going to kill him. They're going to kill him. They've got 3 losses in a row. Dallas is waiting for him. So especially if Dallas beats Miami, then they have to win. But they have to win. They have to win the division. And so this is a must win, and you're playing a Z team. This is what you pray for when you got a team off of a loss or two and you get a Z team. You just go, thank you. Because when you saw the Niners off of 2-0, here comes Joe Burrow, and Joe Burrow beat them. That's why you want the Z team. Then they got Jacksonville, the Z team, well, the bullshit team, and they killed Jacksonville. And then they got going. And I think the same thing here. Philly needs this win, and then they'll get going. And last but not least, the Niners and Baltimore, 5.5, 47.5. When you look at it, Baltimore's been scoring like 30 points a game against good teams. The Niners score in these games 40 points, the Dallas game, the Philly game. They just blow you out, and they are very good at home. I think they're 18-1 or 17-1. At home, the last 8 since McCaffrey, they're like the only loss is to Cincinnati, and it's Joe Burrow. You can understand now. You know why we like to bet on Joe Burrow. I think I got 31-24. The Niners. It'd probably be a little bit higher. I like the over in the game, even though there's a 16 and a 17 defense. Look at the Rams, Baltimore, right? So this is where you've got to really study the numbers. They're not as it appears. So Baltimore with a 16 defense, but wait a minute, the Rams put up 31 on them. Aha, it's not really, the Georgia defense. It's who they play. Since he's been injured, Cleveland Pitt doesn't score a lot. So in their division, they're playing teams that are weak offenses. The Niners with the 17 defense makes sense. I'll tell you the one team that nobody wants is the Rams, man. You got Stafford going, you got the receivers, and you got Aaron Donald. I don't think they can beat the Niners. I think they can beat everybody else. So I want the Rams in that playoffs, and then we're going to really start making money with some locks in the playoffs. But right now, I got 2 locks going out of the mess I gave you. Your free play is going to be Dallas one way or the other. If Tyreek Hill does not play, we take Dallas. If Tyreek Hill plays, we go over. Now let's look at our starting lineup, the NFL starting lineup page, which is on RotoWire, right? So we've gone through Green Bay, Carolina. All right, Cleveland, Houston. Is Flacco against Keenan? So we throw out Stroud. He's out. Flacco's playing. Cleveland's fine. Ford, Amari Cooper, Tillman, Najano. Houston, Nico Collins is questionable. So that's why Cleveland's 2.5-point favorites. Actually, Keenan's much better than Stroud. I think it might give you more points. The over-under is 40. You have a dome stadium. I didn't know Houston was a dome stadium. Okay. So no weather to worry about. I would prefer Cleveland as the dog. I don't know if I want Houston as the dog with Keenan. Flacco's fine. I think Cleveland wins the game in a very close one. Let's go. Let's 24-20 Cleveland. Right at the over-under total. I think you can tease the game either way. I just don't think there'll be too many points. Enough. Maybe an under. Could be an over. We don't know. Detroit, Minnesota. Jefferson's playing. That's all I care about. Golf against Mullins. So pretty healthy there. Good for our over. Washington, the Jets. The Jets. Trevor Siemian. Wilson is out. Siemian, what is he doing in the league? So you went to Boyle, and who sucked, which I could have told you he sucked before you played him, and it cost you 2 games, and now you're at Trevor Siemian, who sucks. Why don't you fucking trade for Art Trask, the quarterback at Tampa Bay, who's really good out of Florida, instead of sitting there with Siemian's played 3 games in the NFL. He's it. Boy, that makes this game a real good under 36.5 with Siemian. Okay, I changed my score. 17-13. The Jets. And then they won't get 20 with Siemian. Oh my God. Seattle, Tennessee. Geno Smith's fine. Metcalf, Lockett are fine. Henry and Hopkins are fine for Tennessee. Levis is still questionable, and Walker, our running back, is questionable. So we're going to have to wait. Today's Saturday, right? I think. It's really Christmas on Monday. Like I still am having a hard time with that. So, yeah, I got Levis and Walker. Again, we got to wait for Levis. But if Tannehill plays, I don't know that that's good or bad. Seattle must win the game. That's all I know. The Rams won. Seattle has to win. Can they win? They did beat Philly. Let's give them credit. It wasn't easy. I don't care how bad their defense looks. I think this is a tight game, but I don't like Seattle as a road. They're a great road dog, but not a road favorite. Well, they're actually good on the road, but you're laying 3. See, I don't like that. I got to go over under, and I don't know what to do. I don't know. Tough game. Jacksonville, Tampa. Lawrence is still questionable with Zay Jones. Mayfield, everybody is good on Tampa. So I don't have an answer. I don't know why the line went down unless they think Lawrence is playing, but he's still questionable. We'll go to site number 3 to see about that. Arizona, Chicago. Foreman, the running back for the Bears, is questionable, and Cole Kmet, the tight end. And Dortch, one of the receivers for Arizona, who nobody's ever heard of. I think he played for Purdue, is questionable. Otherwise, you got Fields and Murray. I like the over here. The Bears are a good over team. They score. I don't know how they score, but they score. Fields runs more. He doesn't realize he's a quarterback. He's supposed to throw the ball. But as long as DJ Moore and Fields and Kyler Murray, I think it's an over. Dallas, Miami. Dallas is good. Prescott, Pollard, Lamb, Cooks, Gallup, Ferguson, I never heard of as their tight end. And Miami, Tagovailoa's fine. Mostard's fine. It's Tyreek Hill, still questionable. So we're going to have to wait another day for Tyreek Hill, or just take Dallas and say, fuck it. How good can he be if he's still questionable? Now, he'll take the needle, but we'll see if he can. Certain spots in the ankle, and you might not be able to. New England, Denver, everybody's healthy. Zappy, and then Russell Wilson. Ezekiel Elliott, he's in New England. And then the receivers suck. And Williams, Sutton, Judy, good receivers. So we like Denver in a must-win at home. 11-mile-an-hour winds and 27 degrees. So this won't hurt New England. They're a cold team anyway, but probably help Denver. Oakland, O'Connell, Josh Jacobs' is question. Adams and Myers and Renfro are playing. Mahomes is fine. Pacheco's playing. Rice, Watson, and Tony, who gives a fuck, is questionable. He sucks. Most importantly, Kelsey. Then we get 14-mile-an-hour winds added to it and a 57% chance of rain. So it's going to be shitty weather in Kansas City. Perfect for our under. The Giants and Philly, DeVito, Barkley, Slayton. Jalen Hyatt's actually good from Tennessee. Must be having a fun time going from a pro offense at Tennessee in college to this shit offense in the Giants. I don't understand why they can't run the Tennessee offense in the pros, or the Oregon or the Washington or any of those. The USC offense. Philly, Jalen Hurts is fine. Swift is fine. A.J. Brown. Devontae Smith's questionable. I don't care. He's a bust anyway. See, the Alabama receivers, to take him in the first round is just a waste of time. The guy in the Lions, I've never seen a guy so afraid to catch a ball in my life. What a joke he is. Oakland D, yeah. Well, so is KC's D. This is a very strong defensive game, Oakland KC. That's why we're going under on the game. So Philly at home must win. The Giants, the Vito look good, but like I say, now we know what to expect of the Vito, and we know what his plays are. Once you know what his plays are, then you change your defense to this is what the Vito likes. And that's now we know. So the first game you don't know. Now we know. And the Packers suck anyway. But Philly, you got 5-mile-an-hour winds in Philly in 51. So no weather to worry about. Philly's going to kill them. In Baltimore, the Niners, we got 6-mile-an-hour winds in 57 in Frisco. Everybody's healthy for Baltimore. Everybody's healthy, but this Jay Jennings guy for the Niners. But I care about is Purdy, McCaffrey, Samuel, Ayuk, and Kittle, and I got all those. So the Niners 5.5, 6, and 47. So love the over in that game. So I think the key game is the Dallas-Miami. It's if Tyreek Hill doesn't play, I mean, Dallas is going to kill him. If Tyreek Hill plays, it's going to be a high-scoring game where Miami could possibly win. Dallas absolutely will be pissed off about last week. Philadelphia is pissed off about last week. Last week, I gave you Kansas City after 2 or 3 losses. They cleaned house against New England. That's the same as the Philly game. So KC gets a weak New England team after 2 or 3 losses. I don't remember. And they kill them. And so that's what you want to take advantage of is when you get a Kansas City off of a couple of losses and they have to win, and then they get the easy opponent, New England. And it's the same thing here. Philly gets the Giants. You couldn't ask for a better team to get than that. You don't even want the Jets because of their defense. Maybe you want Washington, which they get, I think, next week. So keep your eye on that, but that's your big one. Again, the only game I'm not sure yet is Jacksonville-Tampa because of Lawrence. Now, he's got the concussion. He's got to go through concussion protocol. I saw the play in the game on the highlights. I don't know why he continued. Like, he kept playing, and it was clear he didn't know where he was. He was in a daze. So I'm not sure what the hell, how effective he's going to be anyway, but he's got to clear that. Otherwise, I think they go to C.J. Beathard as the backup. Good luck with that. So if it goes to Beathard, then we take Tampa, and if it goes to Lawrence, then I think it becomes a higher scoring game because he runs well. He doesn't pass. Am I liking any of the bowl games? Yeah, I gave that out earlier because they started earlier. I took Troy, and then San Jose State is your free play. That's the 10:30 game tonight. So I like San Jose State. And basically, I think Arkansas State over, the Air Force under, and I don't know what to do with Utah. Half their guys aren't playing. So San Jose State, and I started with Troy, which I think's already just kicked off. You're free. So your free college is San Jose State and Alabama. And Alabama, I just on principle, why are they the underdog? I don't get it. They live for this. Alabama in the playoffs, they knock out Georgia, and you're telling me Michigan's going to beat them. And I live in Michigan, and I watch them. I'm not impressed at all with them. I don't get why they're ranked number one, because I think that their schedule is a joke. Why are you rewarding the schedule? We were 12 weeks into the schedule. We had no idea who Michigan was. Then they beat Penn State at Penn State. Okay. Then they beat Ohio State at home by 6. The quarterback sucks. Ohio State's. It's not the normal Ohio State team. They don't score. They had a good defense. They held Michigan. I was at 30-24. I think I had the under in the game or the dog. No, I think I took the dog. I had Ohio State. So they play one team, Ohio State, who's okay. It's not a typical Ohio State team. They beat them by 6. At what point are they favored over Alabama, who beat Tennessee, who beat LSU, and who beat Georgia? At what point does Michigan get ranked ahead of those teams against Alabama? Now, if they didn't beat Georgia, I might not be as aggressive on Alabama, but they beat fucking Georgia. Are you kidding? Georgia would win half of these NFC divisions. They'd win the AFC South, the NFC South, the NFC North. So I don't really get why Alabama's the dog. But using logic, not emotion, we're all in on Alabama. It'll be Alabama, Washington in the final, and that'd be a great game. You got Alabama at plus 3.5. Bama also has a secret weapon, one of Michigan's assistant coaches recently. They don't need that. They got them psyched out. Michigan can't play with Alabama or Georgia. As soon as they walk on the field, they've lost. You got Bama plus 3.5. Really? Let's see. I got okay on this site. Michigan 1.5. So here, Michigan's 1.5 on this site. On my other site, I also got Michigan 1.5. And if I go in where I get all of them, all these are 1.5s, right? The different sites. I don't know where you're getting 3.5 profit, but every site has 1.5. So I would bet it and bet it strong, but I don't know where you're getting 3.5 from. Troy Duke. Why? I don't have a score on that. It opened at +2, but I bought a 1.5. Why'd you buy a 1.5? Why do you think you need 3.5 with Alabama? Just tease it. Play a teaser with Washington. I've been teasing Alabama. I got them in 4 teasers already with the pros that I've already bet. I already won. So I'm just waiting on Alabama and 7.5. you'll get over that key number of 3. Well, I wouldn't worry about key numbers in this situation. I think you tease it. Okay, how much did you pay to get the extra 1.5? Where you could tease it at 11 to 10 and get the key number 7. You got 7.5, and you're not losing that bet. I don't think you're losing the 3.5, but if you don't want to tease it, just take the 1.5. Forget the key numbers. It's not worth it if you've got to pay. I don't know how much you paid for because I never do that. It's not. There's no point in it. Alabama's going to win the game, so I don't care about a 3.5 number. In a teaser, that's all I do is tease anyway. So I get Alabama in 7.5. I didn't have to pay for it. It's in the teaser. I've already got them in 3 other teasers that already won in the pros. I'm looking, I'll play it with Alabama. They win, check. And then I just need Alabama. So I don't know. I don't know about buying points. I don't agree with that. I agree with the teasers. I think the same thing. So I would do this teaser. I would take Miami and 7 and Dallas against Miami. Take Dallas and 7.5 with Alabama and 7.5. Now you've covered your key numbers without paying for it in a teaser at 11 to 10, and I'd bet gold on it. All right, I would bet a ton on that scenario. See why you laying 150 for? It's not a good bet. In a teaser, you're laying 110. Or if you want, do a 3-team teaser. Do Dallas, Miami. So take Dallas and take Philadelphia and take Alabama, and you get odds. And then you get your key numbers. So you're overthinking it. You don't want it. I would never do that. I would never go 1 to 3.5 at 150. I mean, you have to realize Alabama's either going to win or lose. We assume they're going to win. We just are happy we're not laying 3 or 4 points. And that's why we do teasers, because you get 7.5. So you get that key number over 3.5. But I'm not worried about it. You're paying for something that you don't need. It's like car insurance, right? You'll never use it, but you're paying for it. So you don't need to make that play. That bet should have been a teaser with Washington, Dallas, Philadelphia. Maybe you go under in the Georgia game, but you got to wait till we know who's playing for Georgia. Yeah, Prophet, that's a terrible bet. Where are they to? So go bet at the Pinnacle if you can get it. Well, hell yes. I mean, look at the key numbers you're crossing, and the odds are better. You're laying 150. You shouldn't lay more than 110 in a teaser. And I would add a 3rd team in there, and you actually should get odds then, right? If you know they're going to win, I mean, that's about as cold a teaser as you can get that you have no issues at. So I don't know what is Pinnacle. Is that a site or one of these like DraftKings things? I don't know why you're getting 2.5 there. Seems weird. But if you found 2.5, take it. But you don't want to ever buy points. Just tease it. Well, there you go. So you got 2. You got Bama and Dallas, and then you could add, add Philadelphia. They're going to kill. Maybe the KC under is a good one. Denver. Indy's a good one. Buffalo today. San Diego, they don't have anybody there. But if you don't like Buffalo, but yeah, I would take Dallas, Alabama, and go under in the Kansas City game. And then I'd bet like 20 ounces of gold on that. And at 160, you get gold back. It's the sharpest buck, and they're laying 2.5. I don't know how sharp that is. Why lay 2.5 when everybody else was laying 1.5? Is this an online book? Is this, and what are your odds? What are your 2-team teaser odds? 6 point, 11 to 10. But I've never heard of them. But I don't really check out. I was with Bodog a little bit, but I didn't like their shit. And 5 dimes was terrible on teasers. They would adjust their line to make it like if it's a 7 point, they'd go 9, so you'd have to lay 3. Like, fuck that. They won't ban you for winning too much. They all ban you for winning too much. I can't tell you how many times I've been banned. I went through 5 bookies when I was young because I would win, and they weren't smart enough to take my bets, which I didn't understand. I'm giving you winners after winners after winners, and you don't want me because I win too much. But you're not smart enough to go, hell, let's just bet what the kid bets. So people don't think too smartly, but Pinnacle is not available in the U.S. Where are you, Prophet? In China? Thank you, Prophet. What do you mean Pinnacle is not available in the U.S.? So you're in the U.S. How are you using Pinnacle? Are you in a foreign land? Are you European? Curious where you are. How come you can use it? I've never heard of it. Anyway. So really, I'm keeping an eye on Trevor Lawrence for tomorrow. Pretty much got my aunt, maybe Levis for Tennessee, but we now got Howell again, Howell against Simeon. We've got Flacco against Keenum. Look at these quarterbacks. Isn't that? It's so ridiculous. Flacco retired. He's been out of the league 2 or 3 years, and now he's playing for Cleveland. And the amazing part is he's playing well. You're in Canada, Roxborough. Where's Roxborough, Ontario? Is that near Toronto? Well, there you go. So how come you can use it in Canada, but we can't use it in America? I'll have to check it out. But yeah, don't play teasers. Why do you think I do teasers? Because it's like gold. I know the money's going away. It's being inflated. It's being printed. And when you do that, it kills the value, and the value goes to zero. So I know that. So I'm looking for an out, and I've analyzed, and the only out is gold and silver. There's no other out for your money. And so it's the same thing. Montreal. Okay. That's nice. I've been to Montreal. My cousin used to live there, or my aunt and uncle, and He was a rocket engineer for, I think, NASA. That was pretty. They're from Toronto and they moved to Montreal. Now they moved back to near London, Waterloo. They live there. Anyway, so I study, and then I know gold's the only thing to be in because all the currencies are in money. They're all going to collapse. So if you were to take your U.S. dollars into Canadian or into EU or in the British, you're fucked. Only gold can save you. So I know that. In football betting, I've studied it all, and the only where to go is teasers. And I go from maybe picking 55, 60% to 75, 80% when I'm hot, which I am now, in teasers. It gives you that you're taking 1.5 and you're laying 150 for a 3.5 because you want to get over the number, but it's hard to get over the number and you don't want to pay for it. In a teaser, I go 1.5, 7.5 Dallas. I don't have to pay anything for it. I just find the teaser. I can't believe Dallas. I got Dallas -4 in this game. I can't believe they're the dog, and I can't believe they're still the dog. And I think today is Saturday, if I'm not mistaken. I'm going to say my hellos to my girls. I haven't heard from Daria today. I can tell when she's working. So anyway, I've analyzed it, and the best thing to do is teasers, 6-point teasers. 7-point don't make any sense. The 1 point barely is going to help you enough to recover the extra juice you have. I like teasers, but it makes sense playing a single game impossible because you always have to worry about the other game winning as well. Well, as you can see, that's not really a problem. It's only a worry if you can't pick 2 games. I can pick about, in pros every week, I pick at least 6 or 7 that I absolutely like very strongly. And then there's the, so I'm going to stay away from Seattle, Tennessee, and Washington and the Jets and maybe the Green Bay game. But there's enough games that I find that I can play. So I go Oakland under and Dallas or Dallas over. Oh, really hard to find the second game. Philadelphia, Buffalo, Frisco. I mean, it's not hard to find the second game. That's my point. So when you look at how many games do you lose by 2, 3, 4 points, that if you teased it, you won. And if you do it but the real creativity is before the game. Do I like Dallas +1.5? Yeah. But in a teaser, and I get 7.5, I like Dallas a whole lot better because now I'm thinking in the teaser. So I'm thinking, wow, I get Dallas in 7.5. That's a big bet I can make. Alabama in 7.5. I'm not looking at them laying 1.5. That's the beauty of the teaser. You're looking at it as with the extra points, and then you're deciding. And all my trends, I've done trend analysis in teasers. So like Carolina is like 14-1 against this year in a teaser. Oh, well, Carolina, if you just bet against them with the extra points, you win every week. So there go. Oh, let's take Green Bay this week, but we got some injuries, so we got to see about that. But it makes the betting so much easier to find that second game is never a problem, right? That's never a problem. And then the beauty of it is I can play Alabama in 2 or 3 teasers. As I said, I got them in 4 teasers now, plus 7.5. That as I'm watching the games, I go, oh, you know what? I like Philadelphia. I'm going to put them with Alabama. Denver. I'll put them with Alabama. And because you're looking at Alabama at 7.5. So it's not hard to find that second game. It's your odds on winning. The odds on winning, I'd say Michigan laying 1.5. And you get Alabama 1.5 versus Alabama and 7.5 have greatly improved that you're going to win Alabama and 7.5 over Alabama and 1.5. That's how you have to look at it. And you can make a bigger bet and feel much more confident. And your odds on winning Alabama and 7.5 have gone from maybe 60% to maybe 95%. I would say, I don't want to say never, but I would say the odds on Michigan blowing out Alabama, which I've never seen, would be extremely, extremely small. I would say 98% chance that they will not blow out Alabama. There's probably an 80% chance they won't win the game. I don't see why Michigan will win the game. I don't understand the line. My own line, did I make a line? I didn't make a line. Would have been Alabama, probably -7, maybe 4. Alabama would have been favored in my line. And that's the beauty. I make my own line. So I look at the game objectively, and I go, Alabama's a better team here. They beat Georgia by 3. Okay, at least 3-point favorites. And I get a 3-point favorite plus 7.5. That's why you bet teasers. So picking the second game, that's a bad excuse because it's not hard to pick a second game. With the 6 points, it makes picking the second game very easy. Like today, Cincy Pittsburgh. So I went under. All right, I wouldn't get too excited with that, but I'd bet it smaller. So what I do is I vary my bets with teasers. I'll bet the Alabama game a whole lot more than Pittsburgh-Cincinnati. But I look at the core. I go, Chase is out. Rudolph's quarterbacking. They're not going to get a lot of points, but I'm not going to bet a lot on it. Where KC, Oakland, I can bet an under. I can bet a little bit more on the under because I can see 2 good defenses, and Oakland sucks, and then KC's not scoring without the receivers. Makes sense. I can bet more on that game. But that's what you do is you look and rank the teams, and when you get the stronger plays is what you do. That's how you do it, not, I got to get a second game. That's so hard to pick. But you're not thinking properly. It's like not understanding gold. You're not thinking properly. I'll buy stocks and I'll buy a house. No, because the variables have changed. You can't get into paper because it's all going to go collapse. So gold is the only thing that won't collapse because they can't print gold. That's why I teach the gold. The paper they print, this goes to 0. Your Canadian goes to 0 because you guys are printing because you're Keynesians and you think that if I keep printing, nothing will happen. That's the answer. I'll print money and I'll get out of debt and I'll do this, and it doesn't work because as you print, you lower the value. So therefore, you don't want to be in the stock market. You don't want to be in the banks getting a CD at 5%. Your only out is gold, but and then they fuck with the gold price to keep that low. But that's the thing. So you've got to understand it. So in a teaser, you've got to understand with the 6 points, it's improves your odds from maybe 60% to about 80% if you know what you're looking at, which I do. We have the best restaurants, clubs, and strip bars, of course. Well, I don't know. Are you better than Vancouver? A lot of hot women in Vancouver, I see. I like teasers, but it makes playing a single game impossible because you always have to worry about the other game. That's what we talk about. Nick Saban is the one coach like to out-coach Harbaugh. Oh, there's a lot of coaches that out-coach Harbaugh. TCU beat him last year. Georgia the year before. His brother, the Giant coach. Harbaugh's not that great of a coach. He's a bad game coach. But you also have to understand they want Alabama to win. Alabama will get all the calls. So you guys bitch about home field or the home cooking. Well, the beauty of Saban, betting on him in this situation, he'll get every holding call and pass interference call. Look at the Auburn game. Clearly, offensive pass interference on the last play of the game. The receiver pushes the guy out of the way, catches the ball. No flag. In the LSU game, the guy comes and hits the quarterback in the chin, knocks him out, no penalty. Now, if there's anybody else, there'd be penalties on both plays. Not really Alabama. So you've got to understand, you're going to get every call with Alabama. They want Nick Saban to win. They don't want Harbaugh to win. How much that plays into it, I think a little bit with the refs. No, TCU knew Michigan was looking at their signals and do what I do in poker. I do fake tells in poker because I understand that you're looking at me for my tell. You're trying to get a read on me, right? I understand that. That's part of the game. Will I eat the Oreo cookie? It'd give you a tell. So if that's what you're looking at to try to figure me out, I'm not going to give you real tells. I'm going to give you fake tells. I'm going to give you a tell that I know you're looking at. TCU did that because they knew Michigan was looking at their signals, but it didn't matter. Michigan wasn't going to, they couldn't handle them anyway. And on defense, TCU just shut them down. So TCU was very smart that they knew Michigan looked at. That's what you should do. Instead of getting all upset Michigan steals signals, just do what TCU did and do that. TCU had the better team. I had TCU in 13. I thought it was the easiest bet in the world, even if they sold signs or not. I love TCU and the points. I mean, they had beaten Kansas State. They'd beaten Oklahoma. I wasn't worried that TCU wasn't going to at least hang in there with 13 points. So not a problem there. It wasn't an issue. But anyway, that's what you look at. But so our other friend in Canada lives near Ottawa, I think. Sold his house and bought a new one. And he put $400,000 in his house, and I just couldn't believe it. I said, you could have bought $400,000 worth of gold and you bought a house, you're out of your mind. So what are your housing values there in Montreal? I know you have strong inflation in Canada. You have socialist government ruining your money supply. I think somebody's buying all the houses. I don't remember who. But what's your housing market look like? My mom is from Toronto, yes. Although initially my grandfather was from Russia. The grandfather was from Russia. She was born in Toronto, I think. But yeah, she's Canadian. And but the rest of the family is American. But I'm off with the Russian girls, not the Canadian girls. Housing market is overvalued right now. Yeah, somebody's buying the houses. I don't remember who. I think it's China or somebody, and they're buying them. But yeah, it's all gonna break. It's people don't like gold because they don't know, and so they go and they buy houses thinking, oh, that's where I'll hide the money, or Bitcoin. So people let's say they have 500 grand in the bank, and they know that money's in trouble, and they know the banks are going to fail. What do I do with my money? So the obvious one is gold, but they don't trust gold, or the gold price hasn't gone because they don't know it's been held down with the paper gold. That's the biggest problem. People don't understand paper gold. They don't realize the real gold price is much, much higher. So with that said, they look for a place to get out of money and out of the banking, and they go into either houses or they go into Bitcoin. They don't realize Bitcoin is not real. It's a Ponzi scheme. Nobody really knows the value of it. Nobody knows if it's going up or down or why it's going up or down. It is not currency. It is not gold. It is not money. It is not acceptable. You can't go to the store and use it. It's just like there's really no difference between this and Bitcoin, right? It's a card. It's great. Well, let's look at Mahomes. So it's Mahomes and there's 50 count. So what's the value going to be? Well, at least this we understand. This is where you get supply demand. There's only 50 of them, so short supply. How many people want this card? Well, it's Mahomes, so there's more demand for Mahomes. You'll get a higher price than Joe Mahomes or even than this Chris Carter card. Once you understand that, everything's based on demand. That's what creates the market. And the demand for gold's super high, but they keep the price down. So people won't demand gold. And most people don't understand that the paper price is keeping the price of gold down. They don't get that. So with that problem, they end up not understanding gold at all. But how do you understand Bitcoin? Why is it worth 40,000? Nobody knows. Well, it's the new money. It's not money. It can't be money. It can't be used. It's a payment system. It's digital, which is really troublesome because you can get wiped out in a minute. It could go to zero in a minute. If it got too high, the government would shut it off. So you're really anything you can't hold. I got the Mahomes card. It's in my hand. I got my gold. It's in my hand. That's always the best way to do it, right? You don't want things that aren't in your control. Oh, I got my money in the bank, and then the bank closes. Oh, I'm fucked. I got my gold in the security box at the bank. Oh, I'm fucked. The bank run out. I can't get it. You want that gold. You want the Mahomes card, the Mantle card, the Bobby Orr card in your possession, and nobody can fuck with you. And that's the only way to have these assets. Why does the Mahomes card go up and down? It's just his popularity. He wins Super Bowls. That's why I warn about buying Burrow until Burrow. Yes, we love Burrow. He's a great player, but until he wins Super Bowls, he's not going to have the demand of a Mahomes. That's why Brady's got such a high price. That's why Jordan's got such a high price. Jordan won 6 championships, so the demand for Jordan is much higher than the demand for Isaiah Thomas, for example. I love Isaiah because he's from Detroit, but he doesn't get the value that he's really worth because Jordan won 6 titles. So winning creates the demand, which creates the high price. And that's really what you're looking for. My grandmother is from Detroit. She knew the Ford family. Okay, nice. Yeah, the housing market's going to start collapsing because of the foreign investment. So let's say you live in Asia. You live in China, Japan, Hong Kong, and you got money and you don't know what to do with it. So you go into U.S. market and buy houses or buy stocks because you think the U.S. dollar is safer than your dollar. This is how the Ponzi scheme has been working. So you think the dollar's worth more, so you buy the dollar and you get into dollar assets. My advice is to get into gold, not dollar assets, or get into Mahomes, or you get into Jordan, or you get into Mickey Mantle, not in the dollars, because the dollars can be printed, which they are. So that's really the problem. People are people don't understand. They don't understand that the demand makes the market, that if there's a demand for Mahomes, is there demand for Joe Holmes? And there's this guy sucked. There's no demand for him. There's no value. But if he wins Super Bowls or he wins NBA championships, there's demand and you want to get it. That's how you get the demand. That's how you get the market. That's how you get the price. Okay, so in Bitcoin, how do you get the value going up? Well, you've got to get the demand going up that people will, I don't want the dollar. Bitcoin's my only option, so I'm going into Bitcoin. That's how it would go up, but I don't get anything. I don't get a card or a coin. I don't trust that it won't be zero and that guy will screw me and all of a sudden all the money is gone. So I can't trust it. So therefore the demand goes into gold because of the dollar going out. I know the dollar's going out, but I know all the dollars are going out. The euros, the Canadian, the Swiss franc, the British pound, the ruble, the yuan, they're all going out because they're all being printed to death. So I only have my choice as gold, which I know always has a value because you can't print it. So the big difference with gold is you can't print it. It's like the 50 count Mahomes. That's why you go into gold, because the dollar's not going to last. The dollars are going out. You can't keep printing it. It's like if this said, why do you think this says 50? Because they want it limited. Well, let's say this says 50,000 or 50 million. I mean, this wouldn't even be worth 2 cents. That's why they number it. And with gold, they only have 250,000 tons a chance, and the banks have probably 200,000 of the 250,000 tons already. So there's not a lot of gold out there. When I go to my gold store, the only gold he has is when people come in and want to sell the gold because they need money to pay their bills. He doesn't buy. He can't get gold. He can't. He could order it. If I came in with 100 grand and say I want 50 ounces of gold, he could order it for me. But otherwise, he's not. And otherwise, it's people walking in. I saw a lot of Cougarans there yesterday, 6 or 7 Cougaran ounces. And then my 3 Maple Leaf 1/10s, and then there was 3 or 4 US 1/10s. I got the Maple Leafs. They were cheaper. A 1/10 of an ounce of gold is a 1/10 of an ounce of gold. So I got the Maple Leafs over the US because it was cheaper. Because gold is, when gold goes to 20,000 an ounce, gold's 20,000 an ounce, not US gold versus Canadian gold versus Philharmonics versus Cougarans. It won't matter. So that's why you do a lot is the demand creates the market, creates the price. So is there a demand for Bitcoin? Would that make the price go up? Yes, but can you trust it since you don't get it? So you have this account and I got a Bitcoin and it's worth 40,000. Will there be more demand for Bitcoin? Will people leave the dollars for the Bitcoin? But you've got competition with gold. What do you want? Well, gold doesn't go up. Look at Bitcoin. It's at 40,000. Yeah, but Bitcoin can go down to 0. So the real answer of why will Bitcoin go up is simply demand of getting out of the dollar. However, being manipulated the way it is, it makes it very difficult for Bitcoin to figure out its dollar value. Is 21 million. I like 250,000 tons of gold better than 21 million Bitcoins. And do I know it's 21 million? Do I know it's going to go 42 million? They're going to split it. I think they're going to split it. Do I know all of a sudden it's worthless? See, at the end of the day, it comes down to me holding it. Me holding my gold, me holding my Mantle card is worth more than a Bitcoin that I don't know how much demand's involved with the prices versus money laundering versus everything else that's done in there. But that's what drives any market is demand. So my Canadian club, for all my Canadian viewers, so I used to work there in Detroit. So the question is, what's this worth? Goes to demand. Is there a huge demand for Canadian club, and especially 12-year Canadian club? This is 12-year in 1997. So is there demand for this bottle? If there's huge demand, then I can sell it. But they make too many bottles of the regular to get more than $20 on it. So that's really what you're doing. In football, it's the same thing. Dallas, Miami, what they're saying is there's more demand for Miami at 1.5 than Dallas, and that's why Miami's favored. So what they're really trying to do is get the line that gets equal demand. That's the point of the bookie, is to get Kansas City -10 is to get enough, the same amount of money on Kansas City as on Oakland, and that's the line 10 that should get you $1 million on each side. That's what being a bookie's about, is having $1 million on one team, $1 million on the other. I'm going to make $100,000 and I have no risk. That is what a bookie's supposed to do. And that's how a bookie makes money. The bookie gets in trouble when there's $2 million on Oakland and nothing on Kansas City. Then the bookie's in trouble. That's why the line should go down. That's why I get confused when the line moves. It doesn't make sense. That's why it's tough at the bowl games when the players are sitting out. Now you're totally in the dark on who you demand, because I can demand certain players. Oh, I want to bet on Caleb. Caleb ain't playing. Well, do I still want to bet on USC without Caleb? I don't know who the guy is. I have no knowledge of the backup. So how could I bet it? He might be great. He might suck. I don't know. So that's what's killing the bowls, except for we get to Alabama, Michigan. The demand is on Alabama, but the line hasn't moved. There's more Michigan bettors, I guess, but I can see the Alabama. I think by game time, Alabama will be a 2-point favorite. That would be my guess. I can't imagine Alabama money not coming in and it not being Alabama favored. I want to see you break open the bottle of, no, you're not going to see that. This bottle, I will not open it. It's worth too much. I had some other Canadian club, and then I moved to Alabama for that stupid Toyota job, which I will not. Please don't ever relocate unless it's because you want to live there. You got to want to live there and then find a job. But if it's for the job and the job sucks, you're fucked, as I was. Don't ever work for the Japanese. So when I came back, I just threw out the whiskey. I wasn't drinking it. And, so I didn't take it back with me. But I don't drink too much once in a while. New Year's, I might have a drink. But that bottle won't be open. I might buy another Canadian Club bottle. That would be open. It's funny. I work there, so I'm very loyal. If I do drink whiskey, it's only Canadian Club, not Dewar's or Crown Royal. But yeah, that won't be open. That bottle will not ever be open. But that's what you're looking at. Everything is demand. That's why the pretty girl gets. That's why everybody wants the pretty girl, because she's pretty and you want to be with her. Or maybe you say, well, she's not that pretty, but she's got a good personality. So there's some demand for the girl or the boy. The boy is more based on the money and the way they treat the girl than the looks. The girl's more looks than, and it should be personality, but it's mostly looks. But that's what women are. If they're attractive, then, as you mentioned, the strip club, well, there are, I'm sure, very pretty girls there, which creates demand to go in and see the girl. And you get to talk to the very pretty girl. And you pay for her to dance with you or for you. That's the key. But then as you get to know the pretty girl and she's not nice, then that kind of kills the illusion. So that's the thing, but it's demand. So the better looking the girl, the more demand. And that's the way life is. And the same thing with, I'm older. The girls like older guys. Well, the girls I'm with are in their 30s. They've had their fun with the younger guys, and now they're like, oh, we need a guy who I'm safe with, secure with, who's nice. And that's what I found. And they're pretty. So there was a big offshore move by one of the betting syndicates that moved the Michigan line from 1.5 to 2.5 early this week at Pinnacle. Oh, I love that. So what are they saying? The game's fixed? If this game's fixed, it's for Alabama, I think. I don't know. I do think a lot of the games, I think the games are fixed by the referee. A lot of times they'll have that strange penalty team will score and then call back for holding on a play that is a joke, or the Kansas City play with the offsides. You should never have called that play. I understand he's 2 inches off over the ball in the center, move the ball back. I get that, but you don't call that. You just let the play go. Is it was it a big deal? No, you don't call that. It's sort of like the money fixing that JP Morgan does with gold when they run these derivatives. So they call it, but they never. So they say up, you price fix, but they never get penalized or they never go to jail for it. They just mention it and go, yeah, it's price fixed, but who cares? So on these offside calls, I think they're a joke. They call way too many of them, and they're pointless. They're just a waste of time, and they ruin the game. And the same thing with these offensive holding. The defensive pass interference, I think there's very few of them. I think the Alabama had the offensive pass interference. They let it go. I think that I should have called because he clearly pushed to get the touchdown. I think if it's the player involved in the play, you might call it. I think it's when it's off the play. There was that Penn State-Ohio State game, and they called interference on the guy guarding Marvin Harrison, and then the quarterback fumbled. There was a touchdown. I don't think you ever call that because it wasn't really in the play. It can only be when it's in the play. In other words, if I throw it to Prophet and he gets interfered with, but the ball was going to Prophet, then I think that's it. But if I'm running the ball and there's interference called on Prophet and he's not anywhere near the play, I think that penalty should never be called. And too many bailouts where it's defensive interference on 3rd and 24. It has nothing to do with the play. It's very minute, should never be called. So there's a big bet by some syndicate. Okay, I don't, maybe not, but I'm not going to run and bet Michigan because of that. Let's put it that way. It could be to create steam, hoping the public will continue to bet Michigan up to 3 or 3.5, and then the betting syndicate will take 3.5 and try to middle it since they hammered Michigan at -1. Yeah, I see a lot more of that where the line moves and I don't understand it, and then it moves back. Like Seattle's now like 3 or 3.5, and now all of a sudden it's back down to 3. So I think they're trying to make money that way. I haven't seen the Dallas-Miami line move. I see the totals move more. The Philly total went to 42.5. The line went from 11 to 13 on Philly. But I don't think that's a middle. I think that's because they're playing the Giants. Frisco and Baltimore haven't moved. Yeah, there's a lot of monkey business going on. And I don't like that the NFL and college is affiliated with these DraftKings and BetMGM. How can you call yourself legal and we're fine and then be affiliated with DraftKings and then you start suspending players for betting? Well, fuck, you got BetMGM is your sponsor. What are you talking about? I think it's very ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, anything's possible. But again, so what you want to be in, if I know the demand's going on Alabama, I want to bet Alabama now because I think Alabama will end up being a 1.5 point favorite. So I want to take the 7.5 as soon as I get it, because if it goes Alabama 1, I only get 5. And as you're saying, Prophet, I want to get over that 7 point marker. 7.5 is huge. And so that's why I tell you, like with women or men, if you're a woman in my audience, you're competing and there's demand. And the prettier the woman, the more the demand is. And you better take her out and treat her nice because she's got 10 other guys who will do that, probably. And that's That's why some of the women, it's like they just want the money because they know how easy it is for them. So they go, oh, I want you to take me to dinner, and you don't. They're like, oh, fuck you, he'll take me to dinner, because they don't care. They just want the money. They realize they're in demand and they can get money, so they do it. Once in a while, the girl is actually genuine, and that's why you've got to be careful if you're being used or not. You're with the pretty girl. Is she using you for your money? And then she dumps you because this guy will give her money because she's in demand. And that's really the critical part with dating and marriage and all that is if you're with a pretty girl, then all of a sudden you get laid off or something happens, she'll dump you for another guy. And that's because she's using you. I think most people use most people. I think it's the nature of the beast. I get taken advantage because I'm nice. Most people then don't be nice, and then they're, you don't like them. But I told that to Jenna. I said, most people will take advantage of you, take advantage of me because I'm nice, and they use me. And she says, do you think I use you? And I go, maybe a little bit. If you need to get your nails done, you ask me for money, I think you're using me. I think you should go work and pay for your own nails like I do. But I guess we all use everybody anyway, pretty much. I'm really not sure on that one, but there's different uses of being used. But yeah, it's just the way life is. It's all demand. Is there demand for you or your girl? So you got to be careful. But you got to understand it. That's why I laughed when I was in Alabama and I'd talk to this pretty girl, and then the boyfriend would come over. He couldn't handle the competition. And I looked at the girl like, you're in demand. Like, hello, you should be talking to me also, because you've already got this guy who's obviously an idiot because he's jealous. He's a 5-year-old. So do you really want to? I've exposed him to being a child. Do you want to be with the child? It won't last and it won't work. You need stoic. You need guys who are mature. Yeah, you want to talk to him? Go talk to him. And it's fine. I'm not going to control you if you want to talk. And then you'll find they won't talk because they can. So it's a lot of different things, but it's a lot of competition and demand. And so the gold demand is much higher than the gold price. So we know that it's going to go. In the Canadian housing market, the demand is being kind of controlled, and I don't think it's really right. I think it's overvalued. You got to be careful with real estate. So when the foreigners start selling their Canadian, because they realize the Canadian dollar is no good, it's going to tumble. And the U.S. market is going to do the same thing. That's why I don't recommend houses unless the one you live in. And then, even if you get a good price. So one thing I was thinking about yesterday is money. It's really the crime is money, because the money, you buy a $200,000 house and now it's worth 500,000. You say, oh, I made 300 grand on the house. I'm going to say, no, you didn't make anything. The money has lost its value. And now you need 500,000 of your house for your house, where before you needed 200,000. The house hasn't gone up at all. It's the money going down. And I think we get that with everything because of the money printed. We don't really know what the value is on anything. All we can tell is that the money's worth less because everything's going up. And people think, oh, I made money on my house. You didn't make anything, because it's in dollars, right? If your house is 100,000 in this, and now it's 200,000, you think you made 100 grand. No, you didn't, because it's still priced in this. And so when it goes to zero, you're fucked. So you think you have value in your house, but it's in dollars. This is why I'm telling you not to buy a house. I'm telling you to get off the Titanic, because all these things are tied to money. So as I'm telling Bobby, your house is going to be worth zero because it's priced in dollars. And then you're going to wait for the gold guy to come. And then you're going to price your house in gold. and I'm going to offer you 2 ounces, and you're going to take it. And then I'm going to say, my house is worth 2 ounces of gold. And does it go up to 3 ounces of gold? Probably not, because gold doesn't fluctuate, because they can't print it, so they will never make it worth less. And that's the key. So a lot of the things you own are really not higher in value because the dollar is printed and the dollar is worth less and less and less and less. So you have no idea what the real value is. I paid, my Canadian club. So I paid probably $25 for it in 1997 when I was working there. It'd be this time of year, Christmas, you had $250 to give. You had to buy the products, and then you're supposed to gift them out. And I didn't have enough people to gift it, so I just kept it. And all you had to do was pay tax. They reimbursed you the $250, but they wanted to see you to buy it. So if this is worth $50 in 1997, and let's say it's worth $100 now, it's limited, it's 12-year, and now it's limited. Well, with that being the case, you then have to realize that it's really not the whiskey going up, it's the dollar losing value. And as the dollar loses, that's why. So I went to Camry, right, to get my oil changed, and it was I paid $25,000 for it in 2018. Now they're selling for $35,000. Did the price of the Camry go up? No, that's how much the dollar's gone. That's your inflation measure, right? So you can see the inflation there, but that's why they don't use cars or food. And anyway, that's the whole point of measuring. And so everything comes back to demand. So really the answer for why does Bitcoin go up? It's demand. It's, I have no confidence in the dollar, so I have to move my money out of the bank into something. So I'm going to trust Bitcoin. And what I'm saying is it's a bad move, not because it go up or down, but because you don't have control of it. It could easily be Sam Bankman and zeroed. You don't have it. What if the government closes Bitcoin, says no more Bitcoin because we don't want competition? See, they can't really do anything with gold because it's global, and the Russians have it, and the Chinese have it, and so they can't really close gold, right? Where Bitcoin, they can say no, we don't want it anymore, and since you don't have it in your hand, you lose it. So that's the risk of Bitcoin. And then it's the illusion that there is demand for it. But again, it's really made to get out of the banking system, which is, I'm all for that because the government's corrupt and the government Ponzi schemes everybody with the dollars. That's what they do. We could all wake up tomorrow and the price for a loaf of bread is now $300, like it happened in Chile a while back because of runaway inflation. That's why we buy gold, Prophet, exactly. Because they print the dollar, it loses value. And the more they print, the less it's worth. But they don't know because they're Keynesians or communists run by George Soros, who controls everything. All these in his 90s now. Kissinger, I'm glad he's dead because he controlled a lot of shit, and he turned 100 and he finally died, which is very good news. But Soros, we can't wait till he dies and get him out of the picture. And then that Klaus Schwab guy, when he goes, those are the troublemakers. Those are the communists who are trying to control everything, the whole new world order and all that shit. So what Prophet's saying is bread could go up to 300 an ounce. And that's what it did in Germany. I'm surprised you used Brazil, but that's okay. Or Chile. In Germany, 1923, it's the same thing. You take a wheelbarrow full of money and go buy a loaf of bread. And they would pay you like at lunch, and then they'd pay you at the end of the day. You would get paid 3 times a day. And when you got paid, you would take the money, run to the grocery store because you're afraid that the price of tuna has gone up and bread and milk had gone up. So you're trying to get it before the price goes up. But what you didn't realize is you're working for nothing because you're getting paid in dollars that are worthless. This is worthless. This is the whole point. This is worthless. The demand is moving away from that into gold and silver. And that's what, but JP Morgan keeps the price down to keep the demand for this. So there's gold and then there's dollars, and the dollars cannot compete with the gold because they keep printing this and they can't compete the gold. You can't print the gold. So the gold's going to be worth a ton because of that. Right now it's priced in dollars. It should be worth $30,000 an ounce, but it's still $2,000 because they're price fixing it. They're keeping the price down, but eventually they're going to run out of gold, and then now it goes to the secondary market, and JP Morgan no longer controls the derivative price, and now it's, oh, there is no more gold. Now the people with gold, us, set the price. And like I said, I went into the store, and the guy asked me, I need Eagles. Can you give me, I'll give you 2,000 for it. I said, add a zero to it. Give me, for 20 grand, I'll sell you mine, not at 2. So I've set the price at 20. And I think the price is 20, 25 grand once we get out of the JP Morgan market. And they're just keeping the price low, really. So there's no competition for the dollar. And the Chinese want the low price so they can keep buying. And I'm sure the Russians and Indians are doing the same thing. They own the most gold, the China, the Russians, the Indians. That's what BRICS is all about. That's why they'll come out with a gold-backed currency, because there will be demand for it, and there won't be demand for a BRICS currency not backed by gold. Nobody will trust it. You're going to really trust Russia and China? Only with the gold-backed currency. And they also know that only a gold-backed currency survives. That's why they've been buying gold. So when Nixon took the U.S. off of the gold system, gold standard in 1971, what did China do? They started buying gold, because no system has ever worked that didn't have the backing of gold or silver. You cannot just have a dollar not backed by anything. They will print it to death. So the only out is to always have an anchor, which is gold or silver. As soon as you remove the anchor, the money's down. So that's what China did. They realized that there was no more anchor, and they started buying gold in 1971. That's why they got 60,000 tons of it. And I wish I would have done that at 35 an ounce, although I don't think we could buy it till like 1973. But I wish I'd have bought a lot more. I did buy some in like 95 when I graduated. When I got my master's, I knew gold was the only out, because then I got taught about inflation. That was the best part of my master's, was he taught me about inflation, and the only out is real assets. So the baseball cards, the gold, the silver, that was your real out. That was your only out. You can't keep holding dollars. So we bought a lot of baseball cards, but I would have rather have bought a lot of gold. But I was married then. I'm not married now. And that was 2 mistakes: being married and buying baseball cards, not gold. Although I did get lucky with my Montana and Rice rookies and my Mantle card, but I'd still rather have the gold. So when they talk about diversification, I would not diversify away from gold. There's nothing to go to. You only diversify if it's worth it. It's not worth it to diversify from gold into stocks, into bonds, into houses. No, they're all going to get crushed. And that's the problem. So you got to get out. I've been out of the stock market for 2 or 3 years now. And, it gets you as the patience, right? Because I'm into football. So I know today Cincinnati, Pittsburgh's on at 4, and I know it's done at 7:30. So I get my answer right after. And then I got Buffalo at 8:30, San Diego, and I get my answer right after. And I know I get that answer. And that's the problem is when you're out of the stock market, you're waiting for it to crash. It hasn't crashed yet. And you're, where is it? Or as Luke and Bobby, when's gold going up? When's gold going up? So that's the problem. You're waiting and waiting and waiting. And it's hard because, you know it's going to crash, but you don't know when. And that's what people get frustrated. So that's why they don't buy gold, because they know gold will go up. They don't know when. So they think they'll wait. It'll start going up. Then they'll buy. And that's what the coin guy, I went to the coin store yesterday, and he goes, nobody buys it when it goes down. They only buy it when it goes up. And I go, because people don't know. And they don't know it's controlled by COMEX and derivatives. So when they see pricing going down, they think the demand's down. They don't want to be in it. But then when it starts going up, they go, okay, here we go. And then they want to buy it because they're waiting for the last minute. They're waiting for when it goes up, I want to buy it. I don't want to wait and watch it at 2,000 for 6 months or a year. That's what most people's problems is. They don't understand it. Are you teasing today's NFL games? What do you think about San Diego 19 and Cincinnati 3? I don't like San Diego 19 at all. I took Buffalo in the game, and I didn't play the Cincinnati. I don't know, Rudolph and Chase is out. I think it's more of an under game than trying to figure out who to play. Browning's been good, but Rudolph, we don't know what we're getting. And again, Chase being out's the key to me. But Buffalo has to win the game. San Diego, you got Stick. You got Keenan Allen out, you got Bosa out, and you got Herbert out. So why would I bet San Diego? So again, the bet makes sense if the players are playing. So if you went to, let's see, Dallas, Miami, you might not have the play works if Tyreek Hill plays and Tua and Prescott and everybody. So if everybody's playing, the play works. But the key is when there's the injuries. What do I do? Like the Giants have Danny DeVito now. Well, how do I play them? That's the problem in college. You've got Caleb out. So the line might be good, USC in 13 against Louisville if Caleb's playing, but Caleb's out. So now do you like it? And that's what you got today. You got Stick in there, not Herbert, not Keenan Allen, not Bosa. Now how much do you like San Diego? Buffalo has to win. They beat Dallas last week. They will not let down because they're 2 games behind Miami. So look for Buffalo. Their mindset is keep winning, keep winning, keep winning. Yes, it is a high number, but I took the 6 and I laid 6.5. I got under the key number of 7, so I took it. But that's my point of it. They have to win. They've got the talent. They've got the better team. I don't see how Stick's going to light up Buffalo. No, I said I didn't like Cincinnati without Chase. I said Cincinnati, I took it under. So it's Buffalo with Cincinnati, and it's 6.5. Easton. Yeah. I remember Easton. I never played hockey because I couldn't skate, but I was a really good floor hockey player. I was great at it. You really couldn't stop my shot. I could flick it in no matter who was goalie, but I never learned how to skate. Nobody taught me. I was really young and I tried to, and I kept falling on my legs and hurting my legs. But I was trying to walk on the skates. I don't know how to skate. So I did play floor hockey very good, but that's when I was a youngster. So your big number, maybe you take Oakland in 16, but again, you're betting on O'Connell. Do you want the Giants in 19? Maybe, but Philly's lost 3 in a row and they need the game. So why be contrarian there? Maybe you go with Baltimore in 11.5, but you got to fuck with the Niners. Maybe you take Carolina in 10.5 because Green Bay's missing their receivers or they're questionable. So it all depends. I think in college it's more Caleb's out. Do you still want USC in 13? I don't know. Well, yeah, that's what I'm playing. No, the Giants are at Philadelphia. So anyway, a lot of it's competition. So with gold, so with the paper going away, paper money, the stock market will crash. So I'm out. So I'm already looking ahead. The stock's going to crash. The housing, the banks, the money. So all that I got in one category. That was my Titanic analysis. Or there's gold, which they can't print and I can hold. And I think that's the key with gold. They're keeping the price down, but it'll eventually explode. And then it's, like I said, it's the timing of people don't want to wait. Oh, I want gold to go up today. That's why I'm in Bitcoin, because it'll go up today. And, they don't get it, though, because Bitcoin you could wake up at zero also, because the government does not want you in Bitcoin because they can't control you. The government, for some reason, has gone from they're supposed to work for you to work against you. Now there's taxing and there's inflation, and the government control is terrible. So I don't know. I don't know why we're that got off track that government's supposed to control you. That's George Soros. That's Hitler. That's the Nazis. That's fascism. That's communism. And it's so what happened is it's sort of like the dragons in The Hobbit, right? The Hobbit mined all this gold and it attracted the dragon. And he smells the gold and he goes to the gold. And I think that's the US and pretty much Canada and England. They made a lot of money and it attracted the dragons, which are the Russians or the mafia and the communists, same thing. Where the government controls the people and the government steals all the money. That's basically it. So you get these people who aren't good entrepreneurs and aren't good at making money, just want to steal everybody's money. So you get the bad people in charge who are thieves, who are basically communists, who want to control you and steal your money. And I think that's what we have, and that's where it falls. So when you get too rich and too profitable, like the U.S., for example, has been, it leads to these type of dragons or bad people who then infiltrate and then start running things and start grabbing all the money and starting to control you. This is not supposed to be a controlled country. You're supposed to have life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. This is supposed to be freedom. That's how the Constitution was. Gold's supposed to be the money. There should never be a central bank because they control the money, and that's not what you want. So in effect, what you have is a monopoly on the money by the government. As we know, you never want a monopoly on anything. And you also want really competition in the government. That's why it was Republican and Democrat. Was supposed to be two different governments, and then you would choose which one you wanted. Now they're all the same. So even if you got the Republican in or you got the Democrat in, it's the same thing. Canada's got socialism, which is government control. Try to buy liquor there. You got to go to a government store, and they're a monopoly, so they set the price at whatever they want. It's not good. It's good to have the individual freedom that I teach, that you choose what you want, and there's competition, so you get a good price. Sort of like with the meat or in Profits thing where it's $300 for a loaf of bread. Well, that's okay if I buy pita bread and it's still $5. Well, all the bread go to $300. Or I can buy noodles that are still $2. I can buy spaghetti, make spaghetti. So that's really what that's the whole point of it. And really, that's what you're looking at. That's why you need competition. And you don't have competition with government, and you don't have competition with the dollar. That's why all the world's in trouble, because the governments are all corrupt, and everybody's currency is exploded to zero. And it's because there is no competition, and this is how it's corrupt. You can see the corruption in every country, right? Euro, Swiss, the British, Canadian, the US, it's all corrupt. The whole system is corrupt because it's monopoly. There's no competition. So that's the critical part. So the only real competition They're trying to say Bitcoin is gold. Gold is the competition with the government and the money. And that's the secret. So that's why you buy it. You're free. You have money. You have something that's going up in value, not down, because all the dollars are going down in value. That's your freedom. That's your safety. But they don't teach it, so most people understand it. All they care about is, when does gold go from 2,000 to 10,000? That's when I want to buy it. Not understanding that when it goes, it's, just like the bread going to 300, the gold's going to 30,000. And when that happens, you're going to wish you were in gold. You can't wait for it. You've got to buy when you can and then go. So Merry Christmas, go buy gold. What's profit up to? Well, we don't know. DeVito he played in what? How many games does he play? 3 games? It's who did they play? At home, he played Green Bay, who doesn't have that great of a defense. On the road, he played New Orleans, who's got a better defense. So you can't make that assumption yet. Is they're going to lose to Philly because they're at Philly or because they're playing Philly? And it really wouldn't matter. So I don't agree with statements like that. There's a trend that's killing it in the bowl game so far. Dogs are 7-3, and both dogs are up in the 2 early games. Again, that doesn't. UCLA, I think, was favored, and they won. It all gets down to the teams. So Duke's up 11-0. Northern, yeah. I like the over in the Northern Illinois game. Although I was surprised Northern was scoring. And Troy Duke, TV timeout. Don't know. But yeah, again, those are hard ones to really go with. You just don't know. But again, I don't like those trends because they're kind of meaningless. They're just, you happen to notice something. Okay, so go bet. So you're going to bet the dog. You're going to bet what, Eastern Michigan you want? Why? Because they're the dog? You're just going to bet blindly? You got to bet matchups. You got to look at the games and bet the matchup. James Madison, Air Force. I'm not going to bet Air Force because they're the dog. I'm going to bet Air Force if their quarterback's playing and James Madison. So when I can't figure out, then I go over under. And I can usually figure that out by the defense. But yeah, I don't know. DeVito, what's he played? 3 games, 4 games? I don't know. Anyway, so that's why you buy gold, because it's really, people want to buy it. They want to wait till it goes up because they are tired of waiting and they don't believe it's going to go up. They don't understand it, and that's the problem. And when it goes down, you should buy it because it's cheaper, because it's going to go up, because the dollar is going out and the only thing available is gold. That's the only out you can get, but people don't understand that. And that's really the problem. So it's because of demand that gold goes up, because the demand for the dollar is going away. And that's really the best way to look at it, because why do you want to be in something that's being printed and worthless with the inflation? But the inflation is really down because it's prices. No, it's not prices, and the dollar is down because of the printing. The inflation is the printing of the money, not the prices. So they lie to you through their teeth about what inflation is, and it's ridiculous. So anyway, I'm off to the pool. It's 1:30. Good luck on your games. Let me see if Daria is. Yeah, Daria must be working today. She pops in and out. She's working. So anyway, That's about it. Well, it's not roulette betting red or black, Prophet. So good luck. But the Rams won. So in the NFL, maybe not working. I don't know. I mean, UTSA covered, so I'm not sure where you're getting this from. Texas Tech beat Cal. They were the favorite. UCLA beat Boise. They were the favorite. Fresno State did win. App State won as the favorite. Jacksonville State won as the favorite. South Florida won because Syracuse had their third string quarterback in. Maybe checking that trend out. And then yesterday, Georgia Tech won, which I had the over in. I think looking at North Carolina has their third string quarterback playing against West Virginia with their starter. I think it's a little more important than playing the dog in the game. I'm not going to play North Carolina, or I'm not going to play USC without Caleb. If you want to go and use that as your method, you're not going to make too much money. You've got to understand why you're betting it, and you've got to put apples to apples. So if Caleb's out, you want to bet USC is the dog? Be my guest. Now, will they cover? I don't know, but that's not how I bet. I don't look at it as trends like that. I look at team trends. Philadelphia lost 3 in a row, must win. That's what I look at more so than that. Or KC's a low-scoring game. With Oakland, they're both low-scoring teams, probably won't get a lot of points. That's how I look at a game, not based on other games that are meaningless to my game, right? They don't mean anything. Most of the trends are meaningless. The problem with trends now, the problem is the movement, right? The trends are totally useless now because of all the transfer portal and guys getting ready for. So you have Utah, you're going to trend Utah, but then Cam Rising's out. There goes your trend. You're trying to trend. You can trend Washington and Oregon because they were there last year. But now, how are you going to trend Oregon next year with Bo Nix gone? Because the trend's going to be Bo Nix trend, but he's not there. So even Georgia this year, you can't really use their trend because Stenson Benson went to the Rams. Now you got a new quarterback. They were under a lot last year. They weren't under a lot this year because they had a new quarterback and he threw the Brock Bowers all the time. So I find the only trends you can use in the NFL are Kansas City, Philadelphia, the Niners, Baltimore for the last 2 years. Outside of that, there's too much change. Like Carolina has Steve Young now. You can't take last year's trend because he wasn't playing. Now their coach got fired. So now they got a new coach with Steve Young. How are you going to trend that? Trends don't work because of all the changes, because it's a data point. You want to get 20 data points, then you can do a trend. But you can't do it because the data keeps changing. That's why I say you can't do mathematical formulas on football because too many variables. Like today, Philly on 3 losses in a row. How do you plug that into your formula? You can't. Then you got DeVito. Well, you can't plug him in because he's only played a few games. Okay, Philly's okay with Hurts, but how do you plug a formula for teams with 3 losses in a row needing the game to win their division? That's where it's just common sense, not trends. It won't work. You can't handicap the bowl games because of the transfer portal. Well, you can only handicap the Alabama, Michigan, and the Washington, Texas because nobody's going transferring and nobody's skipping out for the NFL draft. Those are the only 2 you can truly handicap, or like a game where like Clemson, Kentucky, everybody's playing. So you can kind of handicap that. But otherwise, again, and I told you James Madison today, 10 guys going in the transfer portal, but then it said they're all playing. So you got 10 guys in the transfer portal playing, even though they're in the transfer portal, which I didn't think you could do. So I guess you could choose if you want to, you could transfer and play. And that's what James Madison's doing. So we'll have to see. But that's exactly what is going on. So, yeah, it's hard with the movement of the players and the coaches, like San Diego. Well, we got a new coach. How do you want to trend them? You don't got Herbert anymore. You got Stick. Keenan Allen's out. Bosa's out. How do you want to trend San Diego with these guys out? They're certainly not as good. So now they come down to like a Z team from an over team. What do you do with them? So that's why I don't like San Diego 19. They got too many stars out for San Diego. They just got killed by Oakland. Now, normally I would love San Diego after getting killed by Oakland, but the coach is gone. Half the stars are gone, and they're probably going to get killed again by Buffalo. Maybe if it was if they had Oakland, well, no, they just got killed by, let's say it was Denver or Pittsburgh, I could see taking San Diego, but not against Buffalo, who needs the game desperately to try to catch Miami and try to make – they're not even in the playoffs, Buffalo, so they must win the game. And the other teams are right there with 8 wins, and Cleveland's got 9. So Buffalo's really fucked. They have to win. So, you know, I wouldn't touch San Diego at all. But it makes more sense to follow a team or league trend than to bet against it. Well, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that new head coach sparking them either. It's not their head coach. It's just some interim guy. But no, I don't agree with the trends. I believe in the matchup. I believe in Buffalo playing San Diego. What's the matchup? I don't believe Pittsburgh, Cincinnati. What's the matchup of the two teams is more important than if all the home teams are winning or all the favorites are winning or all the dogs are winning. I don't buy that. That doesn't make any sense to me. You need the handicap. You need to figure out the game. That's what I do. That's what you see me do is figure out the game. Figuring out Dallas, Miami. We figured it out. It's Dallas or the over based on Tyreek Hill. I don't think Miami can beat them. But if Tyreek Hill is playing, they'll score more. And if he doesn't play, then I'm not going to go under. I'm going to take Dallas. Philly and the Giants. Philly has to win. 3 losses. They're going to kill them. There's no other way to look at the game. The Giants have Danny DeVito. They got a 24 defense. Philly's going to score early and often on them. They have to win. They're going to be out emotional. It'll be 35-0 at halftime. That I don't care what's going on with the rest of the league and things like that. It doesn't matter. It matters is Philly lost 3 in a row and they get a Z team. That's what matters. That's what you got. You're looking for trends. You're looking for the easy way out. You have to learn to analyze the teams and the games that Philly and the Giant game. That's what you got to analyze, not anything else. You don't think this might be the flat spot for Buffalo after beating? No, not at all. Was Dallas flat against Philly? Yes. No, they beat Philly. Were they flat against Buffalo? I don't know that they were flat. It was just they made some stupid penalties. But I don't see Buffalo must win the game. I don't see why they'd be flat. Now they might win 20-10. I would not call them being flat, but it's playing a bad game or a good game. But I think like Philly, I don't think Philly's going to be flat. I'll tell you that. I don't buy. Denver got lost. They're going to Miami, Dallas after a loss. So if you're looking that way, you can look after the lost teams, Philly, Dallas, and off you go. But Denver got beat by the Lions. So, but it matters a little, but it still matters. Like I said, Frisco lost 2 in a row, but they got Joe Burrow, and Joe Burrow beat them. So it's who are they playing, and look at that game in the matchup. But just because Buffalo beat Dallas, why would they be flat? They have to win the game. See, then it becomes they must win for the playoffs. It's far more important. Team is like Oklahoma, Texas in the middle of the year. Texas or what? Oklahoma won the game. Were they flat the next week? Not necessarily. Michigan, Ohio State was at the end of the year. They would be flat, but now with the championship on the line and the playoff on the line, Michigan wasn't. They were probably a little flat to Iowa, but not too bad. I'm only using trends for the bowl season, not the other sports. I don't like the trends you're using because of the transfer portal and the guys going to the NFL and all that stuff. Like I said, you can't trend USC, Louisville, because Caleb's not playing. How do you trend that? You don't know how good the quarterback is replacing him. That's the problem. Until you understand that, but you have no data points on the new quarterback. That's the problem. So you don't know what you're getting. You want to bet on USC and then he sucks, or I'll take Louisville and then he turns into Joe Montana and you're fucked because this guy's a superstar. You don't know. Van Dyke and Rising were third-string quarterbacks. The first 2 guys got hurt and they came in and they lit it up. So until you see at least the game of the new quarterback, you don't know. So therefore, you're betting blindly. And why do you want to do that? There's so many better opportunities. That's my point. So stop looking at trends. It doesn't. The only trends, like I say, is Kansas City and Philly and Frisco and Baltimore. You can actually put in trends because the coach and the quarterback have been there a few years. So you can see Philly is very strong in a teaser, probably the strongest, I think, of all. Minnesota's strong in a teaser. Tampa and Houston are strong. Carolina's strong against, as Washington, Arizona, New England, Atlanta, San Diego are very bet against in a teaser. Now, those trends I take into account, but that's not my whole bet. So San Diego's weak in a teaser, but also the quarterback's out, the wide receiver's out, Bosa's out, the coach is out. So now it's really a lot against San Diego. And again, you're just trying to figure out what the score is going to be. So you can figure out, like Alabama, we got a mismatch. We got the wrong team being favored. That's why we're jumping on them. That's what you're trying to do with your school, is learn the game and then bet the game according to what's going on. That's what you're trying to do. UCLA already played. They already won. You missed the boat on that, and they were the favorite, not the dog, and they won by 15. So don't use trends. They won. They're laying 4. They won 35-22. Oops, there goes your trends. But Boise's quarterbacks were out. They played with their third-string quarterback. UCLA did not. They played with their starter. That's what you want to find. And so I gave you that. North Carolina's like that. West Virginia's starting quarterback, North Carolina's third-string quarterback. You figure it out. That's what you look at. And that's what I did with Troy today. I took Troy because Duke's on their second quarterback. Troy's on their, I think, starter. Supposed to be anyway. And that's the problem. If the guy plays 5 plays and then sits out, you're fucked. So it's really hard in the bowls. Don't bet too much on it. All right, I'm off to the pool. It's 1:30, 3 hours. Enjoy your Saturday. Good luck on the games. Again, Buffalo today. Your free play is going to be Dallas over or Dallas, depending on Tyreek Hill. And San Jose State tonight at 10:30 is your free college play with Alabama as our college play. But we got to wait on that. So that's about it. Right now I have one lock going in the pros tomorrow, and a lot of other good pro picks. It gets easier now because the teams need the game, right? Oh, wait. Philly needs the game, and KC needs the game, and Cleveland, Houston, Jacksonville. Now everybody needs the game. You're getting a better effort. Are they any good? And then you got to look at the quarterbacks. All right, Prophet. Have a nice day. And I can't believe it's Christmas Eve. I got to go to the grocery store. I don't know what I'm going to make. A roast, a chicken, a salmon, a steak, ribs. I have no idea. I think some ribs sound good and maybe a steak. But the problem is you've got Christmas Eve and then you got Christmas Day. So you want to make a roast to cover both days and maybe some ribs to go along with it. I might do that. Or a steak and a roast, or a salmon and a roast. So we'll see. Anyway, have a good day. www.teaserking.com. Make some money. Like I said, the rest of the bowls, $100. You want the rest of the year, all the bowls and all the pros, $200 through the Super Bowl. All right, everybody, www.teaserking.com. Merry Christmas. Buy your gold. It's your only out. All the money you make on football, go buy gold. They can't inflate it, and they're inflating your dollars. All right. Take care, everybody. Have a nice Christmas.